Morning. Putting on some
Good
headset.
morning. I'm
Good.
driving, so
Oh, okay, great. Thanks for joining us from wherever you can. See, hi, Mark. Hi, Victoria. Someone else in the car. Hi, Alyssa.
Morning.
Amy. Shella, Deirdre. Oh, everyone's here right on time. Monica, Deirdre, Megan. Morning, everyone. Let's head over to the chat and test that one out. There we go. So how's it going? I am personally freezing. Like you have no idea how cold I am. I've been trying to get the heater to turn on for the last 15 minutes and I finally gave up. And I have this little space heater I put next to me. It's one of those radiator things. It's going to take forever because I'm in the middle of my living room, which isn't big, but it's a big space. And this little space heater is barely gonna, anyway. Need to figure out how to fix that. We just had to replace our water heater, so I'm really hoping that it's not working. Anyway, gotta put you guys on the headsets. Although no one's here right now. You know what? No one's here right now, so I'll connect my headsets later. All right. Thank you, those of you who are showing your video. Thank you, Mark and Alyssa. It really helps me feel connected to people. If you guys are in a place where it's comfortable to do so, I always announce it, but not expecting you to do so. But if you do, it helps me immensely. But if you can't or not in a space where it works, then just give me signs of life with little yeses and nos and stuff like that. And I will see your smiling face behind the yes, behind the check mark. Got your message, Mark. I responded this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me just can barely hear you. Let me get you a bit louder. Can you say that again? I might have to put on the headsets. I can't hear you. I'm gonna connect the headsets. Sorry, I usually have the headsets connected, but with trying to get the heater going. All right, can you say it? Can somebody speak again? Okay, got it. Now I can hear you. I couldn't get the sound to work well. I used to have these big headsets that were really good, but they broke, and now I'm always fighting to hear things correctly. Anyway, thank you, by the way, Shelley, for she posted this morning how she's been catching up, and I love it. I went into let me just share the Padlet. Here we go. And Padlet. So yeah, thank you for catching up, for doing all the work. Here we go. Wonderful, wonderful. And I haven't read it all. I'm just seeing that I love it that you are not only doing the work, but you're also posting the instructions for everything. But I want to point out that she did her homework. And I don't know how many of you did your homework, but in case you didn't, or if you did and didn't post it, one of the homeworks was to, oh, thank you, Monica, for being visible. One of the one of the homeworks was, well, the one that I had asked from the time before and this time, to go to online printing companies and to find what their formatting, what their printing specs were. So over here, depending on the size, okay, so these are two big products. I'm not sure what product this one is, but it gives you, oh, it's 11 by 17 or 8¼ by 11. So the small poster, I don't know what it is. Shelley, do you know what project,
Yeah, it's a calendar, hanging calendar.
Oh, okay, got it. Hanging calendar. And so it these are the choices of papers. And then here you start, they do offer a template. That's great, but I don't know the template. Have you tried to download it? What kind of, when they say download, you don't know if it's PDF, Illustrator, InDesign, Photoshop, they can send it in whatever. But anyway, and then it tells them, submit it in PNG or JPEG format. So see, these people do not want a PDF. You have to know how to export. You know how the other day went to many different formats. You have to know how to export in different ways according to how your printer asks you to send it. So in this case, use PNG for designs with transparent elements, and for other designs, prepare files in JPEG instead. So basically, that's what they're saying they want you to do. sRGB color profile, safe print area, avoid fine for text. So it's really specific. Use vector fonts. If you want to use fonts, do not convert them into text. Do not don't have them be from a JPEG. And then this is something I did not show you. All fonts should be converted as vectors outline. So if you're sending, what they want is a JPEG, right? And if you convert into JPEG without for a print, because it's weird, because most people don't print from a JPEG if it's text, there'll be a PDF. But in this case, since they want a JPEG, if you have any fonts in there, then you're supposed to convert them into outlines. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that, because in a JPEG, otherwise the font would be blurry, which is why people use PDFs, because PDF conserves the vectors, but JPEGs don't. So whatever company you go to, all I'm saying is don't forget to go to this page. Each company has their own requests, and you'll read everything. Read everything before you actually work. And then it even says how to use our template. If you use our downloadable templates, delete the guide layers before saving your files. If you don't delete them, they'll show up on the print. So had you not read this, you wouldn't have known, and you'll send it, and then you'll see all these little guidelines. Okay. Anyway, so don't place stuff in front of the close to the edges. Use the safe print area, because they know that their cutting doesn't work perfectly. So this is a perfect example of a specs sheet for the for this product, and she did 3 more. Let me see if there's any other surprise or very different. Here we're talking about a small product. Oh, is it the same? It looks like it's the same company because they have it written in the same way. Okay.
It's a different. I think it's a different company.
Oh, they look, which is fine, but printful.com, they use the same format completely, file guides, and that's why it got me. Okay. All right. So it talks about, it tells you that it'll be dye, ink on paper, transferred onto the product with heat. So this is probably, oh, there it is. It's a mouse pad. And so then when you want to do that, what kind of materials you're going to need. So again, PNG or format, at least 150 DPI. So they're telling you what they want. But remember I said they might say DPI or PPI. Here's an example where the printer side of it says PPI, but from the person designing it, it's equivalent to 150 PPI. It isn't the same thing technically, but the number applies. It's exactly. Now they want sRGB profile, and I believe the first one wanted, I think they said RGB or also is RGB. Full bleed images for maximum coverage. Anyway, so all of this, had you read it, if 3 weeks ago, you might have had no idea what it means. Now you're beginning to understand what all this means. This one isn't very specific of what type of file they want at all. Do they say? Well, see file guidelines, sublimation. So maybe they tell you a bit more about the file guidelines there. It doesn't say what kind of font file type they want. JPEG, PDF, and this one doesn't. So here you'd have to keep digging in to make sure you send them the right thing. Okay. Yeah, and not every company is good at explaining. Sometimes you just need to go into their website again and then call or whatever. And then this one is another company. We said printanything.com, and print any only accept the high quality print ready PDF. There you go. PDF must be high quality, exported with trim crop marks only, no other marks required. So do you see the notes to every single thing that we talked last class? Everything I'm saying is something that, does it ding a bell at least? Give me a yes if it dings a bell. Tell me no if this is not the class that I talked about it, or if you were not in class. We went through all this stuff. So definitely if you weren't in that class, it's very important to take to take a look at that recording. Color format, CMYK or grayscale. It's which is the other two had asked for RGB, sRGB. This one's CMYK, which means they go with ink. So again, it could be the product, but it's the opposite. The other one had sRGB, this one on CMYK, which is inks versus no RGB, Pantone or spot color. So had you prepared the same file and sent it all three, you couldn't have. You would have had, you had to you prepare the same file, but you have to export it in three different ways for what we've just read. And they want a 10mm bleed. Oh, this is, well, probably from a different country, so they say it in millimeters. A 5mm bleed for documents, 10mm bleed for signage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So I'm not sure if anyone, I haven't checked to see if anyone else did that work. But when I had checked yesterday, it finished here at the happy birthdays or babies or stuff. So I don't see anyone else had done that work. So you guys, we have one day between here and last class, which is next week. Can people please do, at the very least, look for two to just compare what they want. Ideally, my initial request was three, which is what she did here. So glad you did this, Shelley, and posted this because it's a great example. You found three companies that many times people come up with things that, you know, have the same result. And I'm trying to convince them that no, you do. Some people want different things, but you just went ahead and the three you found have different types of specs for each one of their products. So wonderful. I really appreciate that. So go to some companies and pick up their specs. For choose either the same product or different products, because in particular she went for a different, well, I don't know what this product might be, but these two are different products. And this is sublimation printing. This is a calendar paper printing, and yet both of these want sRGB, and then this one wanted CMYK black and white. So what do you know what you were asking for in this one, Shelley, per chance?
I'm forgetting right now.
Just because they're asking it in black and white, so maybe it was different. But anyway, because they said CMYK or grayscale, and it's not that they want it in black and white, but since they mentioned grayscale, black and white and grayscale, black and white prints with just black ink, more or less of it, right? And then CMYK is cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. But but it's the same system, right? It's still considered the same mode, CMYK, right? Versus RGB would be in colors of light. And this is the part that's always surprising, because they must print on a traditional printer with, you know, the 4 sheets, and these print on the digital printers that can handle sRGB, that can handle RGB, and they don't need the CMYK. But you don't know that when you just go to the company. You have no idea what kind of printers they have and what they need. All right. Okay, wonderful. I see that people completed their postcards and invitations. All right, so let's see, Nima, hi, nice to see you. I'm glad you're back.
I'm still. I'm sorry,
yeah.
I couldn't turn on the video.
No, I completely understand. I completely understand. Nice to see you back. So we have one more day, which is next Thursday. So let's take advantage of all we can. And today, let's head over to Bridge. Let's go to the digital design techniques class. And we're going to be working, who's here in my Illustrator class right now, by the way? Is any one of you guys, is it Shelley that you're in my Illustrator class? Yeah, and one more person. Maybe Mo. Oh, Miguel. Okay, well, I'm not getting many responses from you today. Either everyone's still sleepy or anyway, yeah. Miguel, and I believe Shelley. Okay, and Shelley's on her phone, so it makes it hard to answer. Okay. So let's we're going to talk a little bit. I just spent some time in Illustrator showing text, and now we're going to be working with text as well, but we're going to start from InDesign. where some things are the same, some things are different. And I'm gonna do text and color and a lot of work around that. So let's head over to, first of all, let's start blank, and then we're gonna open an existing file that we have here. So actually, let's do both. Let's go ahead, open, let's have the, oh, is it gonna be a mess for your computers to have to open? I don't know, so let's just do one at a time. So let's just go to InDesign and start with new. I don't know if having two files open might stress your computers too much at this point, so let's just start with new, and then we'll open the other one. All right, so we're gonna start with a new file, new document. Let me say something before we go ahead. If you close, you know how each time you start a new file, this opens up in a format or sizing that is different. If you before you open a file, right, before you start a new one, if you go over to the specs, which for Mac people, you would go up to the word InDesign next to the Apple logo way at the top, and you would go to the preferences, and then we can just head over to general. For PC people, you would have to go up to the edit, and way down here, you would see the word preferences, which since I'm on a Mac, I don't see it. So let's go open the computer preferences. We're going to go to general and get that going. And over here, where units and increments, this is a place where you can see ruler units. You can change this to inches or centimeters or whatever you prefer. And then you can say, okay. That supposedly should change. Everything you open now should start as inches. But it doesn't necessarily do that all the time. Sometimes you need to close the application and start again, but see, there we go. Now, when I said new, see how it already went to inches. But if you do that when the document is already open and you change it to inches, or like you change it inches in this one document, then next time it defaults back to picas or whatever. So now hopefully your default has become inches. All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to leave it as 8.5 by 11, but we're going to make 8 pages. Let's make 8 pages right there. And when you do facing pages is because you want it to be, you know, kind of like a book, a brochure, a booklet, anything that's multiple pages. If you don't do facing pages, it's like you design 8 separate individual pieces, which is not how we normally use in design. There is a place for certain individual facing pages, but the non-facing pages. But this would give us spreads. Remember the word spreads, the 2 sides, the left side and right side of the paper. We're going to go ahead and we're going to say that there's, for now, let's say no columns. Later, we're going to add some columns, but this one column means no columns, meaning it is all one column. It is one page from left to right. Otherwise, if we were to add columns here, we could tell a 2 or 3 column page. Just to explain what the column gutter is that little space between columns, how big you want the space in between each column. And like your newspapers have this very little space between columns, magazines, places have more place for design, might have a bigger space. Anyway, we're going to go down because I do only want 1 right now, but that's the little space in between each column would be the gutter. Let's go with 1/2 inch margin, and let's just to get accustomed to having bleed, let's go with a typical 0.125 bleed, just so that the file looks, you know, with everything it can look. By the way, one thing I don't have turned on because I kind of know how it looks, but if you were to click on the preview here, then you would be seeing what you're building, right, ahead of time, and you wouldn't have to be guessing if you've got the basic setup right. And once you turn it on, it stays on, and next time you see it, it will always stay on. Okay, so now but you only see the first page. So even though I said pages, you don't see the facing pages. You just, if you ask for facing pages, which means you should be seeing spreads, you will only see that as of page 2 and 3. Okay, so now let's create. And then let's head over to pages, and this is what I mean, in that you're seeing page 1, but then after that, you're seeing page 2 and 3, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's go ahead and remember that the first day that I think the first or second day, I showed you something that was before pages. So now there's nothing on them yet, but if I want to go to page 8, I like to go this way by double clicking page 8. And now I'm on page 8. The only way I know I'm on page 8 since I don't have anything on it is because this one's selected. And then also another way is down here at the very bottom. You'll see that it has the page 8 and I can click on that and now go to page 4. And so this little number will also always tell me what page I'm on. If you're somewhere in between and you're doing something like that, right? It'll, depending on if you have more of 4 visible, it goes there. If you have a bit more of 6 visible, it goes there. So that's kind of confusing. If you're just working at the top of this, you might think, oh, I'm on page 4, on page 8. So anyway, I kind of like to just double click. And when I do that, it centers on the page I'm looking for. It centers on the left one. If I go to 7, it centers on the right one. So if you want to see the entire spread, if you were to go Command or Control 0, you have to, you know, the Command Control 0 will only give you the half page, right? And if you're designing for individual sides, that's fine. But a lot of times in the spreads, we want to make sure that we see the entire spread. So I always just go Command or Control minus one more time, depending on, I usually have my computer a bit wider. I keep it a bit less wide for purposes of teaching. So you zoom in and out a little bit more to see the whole spread. Okay, cool. So Command Control plus, Command 0 to see the spread. I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to reformat depending on what we're formatting for. I prefer to format my application in such a way that it's a little bit more like the shape of the document that I'm asking for. That way, when I do try to get myself the right size, it seems to fit in the spread a little bit better. So anyway, that's just something I like to do, but yeah, just for ease of comfort of giving it that space. I'm going to go ahead and keep the same amount open because it gets confusing to have these different shapes. All right, so that's all for moving around. I can also use the scroll bar to move up and down. Let's head over to page 1. But notice that, by the way, notice that when I did this, just because I'm looking at page 6 doesn't mean I'm on it. See over here, I had still selected page 1. So until I click here, I don't move to the page I'm in. So this has to be selected. So if I just do that, I mean, for the most part, we're going to click on the page to start writing and doing stuff. But notice that I'm in page 1, but I'm still there. Once I click, the color went up to page 1. Okay. All right. Before I start, make sure everyone, you've gone to the chat and given a little hello in there. And how about questions before I get started? Anyone have any questions? Anything? All is good. Everyone's working. Everyone has the 8 pages. All good. All right. Thanks, Amy, for saying yes. I just want to train you again to the yes and no's because I'm hearing very little response today from the class. So just it's this silly question. This is just opening the document, but if you got it, say yes. I want to see you guys like engaging. If you're not answering, I'm going to assume either you can't find the yes and no, and I'll, help you to find it again, or I'll, got it at computer. Okay. And then I'll help you find it. Okay. So Deirdre, Mark, remember where the yes is? Nima, do you remember how to say yes or no to questions that I ask? Head over to the emojis that you'll see on the bottom bar. Okay, you said no, you don't remember, but you said no, so that means you do remember. Now, if you said no because you're not set up, then yeah, how can I help?
Right now, the internet connection is very bad.
Okay.
So I just wanted to listen to class and
got it. Okay, that's fine. Perfect. So if I don't get an answer from you, I'll know that you're following through and you're asking. If you have a specific question, just then pipe up or let me know. Okay, great. Moni, yeah, your hands up. You're welcome.
Hi. So I just got onto my computer. I just want to make sure I got my settings correct. What did you do for margin?
I did the 0.5, which is the half an inch. default, yeah. And let me
Okay, mine
change.
does,
Can you
mine did something else. Okay, so,
yours-
okay,
So
and
when
then
you
the
do
bleed,
command new for N, when you do command or control N means new, and the
Yes.
default, if you don't change anything, it usually is 1/2 inch, but you might have changed
I
that
must have.
default in the settings or something.
yeah,
Or you must be going to like a recent one that you already made that was different.
probably.
And then the bleed is what 0.125, which is
Okay.
99% of the times the same bleed. Although we just read from Shelley's posts that one of them was a 10-inch bleed for a certain product, a 10 millimeter bleed, and 5 millimeter for a different product. So that alone is showing you. When it said 10 millimeter, 5 millimeter. Oh, by the way, let me just show you something. Say that I don't want to go and change my units, and they ask for a 10 millimeter bleed, right? And I'm in inches right now. So I'm like, how do I, pull out calculator unit control? No, all you need to do is you can click in here and it's the whole thing, get rid of that, and then write 10 millimeters, right? You write the format, you write this format it is, and then you hit return. Oh, sorry, not in this case. I didn't mean to hit return. 1 second, let me go to make a new document. Back to bleeds. If you say 10 millimeters, right, and then you tab to go to the next one and the next one, the next one, it has converted the 10 millimeters into 0.3937 inches. So you just need to put, say that I say 2 centimeters, and I hit tab to go to the next one, or I click on the next one, that would be 0.78 of an inch. So if you are in centimeters and you want inches, then you would write 0.125 IN. So you need to write the last things of whatever format you want, and the computer is doing the conversion for you. Okay. So in the last template, one person wanted a 10 millimeters, which is really big. I've been saying to give us a 0.125, so it's much bigger. That was one of the products, and then the other one wanted 0.105 millimeters, and then that would be the 1969. So neither one of them is the 125. Okay, so different countries, different guidance, different things. All right, so now I'm going to actually go down to the 0.125 again. Well, this was just an example, so I'm going to close. I'm not going to create this one, but I just wanted to show you how sizes can be converted just by typing the unit, the measurements units that you're using, and InDesign does the exchange. Another way, and I'm not sure if I said this, but I'm going to show it because it's very important. Another way, say that you ended up here with points or picas or whatever in the ruler, you would see that now. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8.5, and I know I'm 8 and 8.5 by 11. So I know this is right. This is inches. But if I was hoping it to be in another unit, I can go straight to the ruler, put my tip of my mouse in the ruler, right click, and then change to points. And then it gives it to me in points, or right click and change to millimeters, or right click and change to centimeters, or whatever it is that I want. I'm going to go back. Notice that it did it to this ruler, but this one's still in inches. So had I gone to the corner, right? So this one still says 11, right? And this one says 25. So this one's in centimeters, this one's in inches. So if I do it instead here in the corner, and I right click there, and I tell it whatever, agates, which I don't even know what it is, then both change at the same time. So we've got the same numbering going. So now I'm going to go ahead and go back to inches on both of them. So now this should say 8.5 by 11. Okay, I think I might have shown you that when I show when I teach both Illustrator and InDesign at the same time, a few times I have this overlap of, did I mention it here or there? Because as I said, in many ways they're the same. So if you see me embarking on something that I totally went through before, then just tell me that I already covered it. I for the most part remember, and I take notes of what I do, but the little details, like, did I mention that one thing? I might not remember. Oh, okay. So Deirdre says there's no right click on a Mac. First of all, yes, there is. Let me just, a couple of points. This is really important. There's always a right click, but for years and years and years, the Mac did not have a right click on their mouse. If you have, do you have a magic mouse like the one I have here, or what, or do you have a trackpad? What do you have, Deirdre?
Yeah, I don't have a mouse. I just have
Okay,
a.
so you have a trackpad, okay.
Mhm.
So right click is going to be 2 fingers down, but let me just show you something. What do you have a computer that's relatively new or relatively old or
It's
I'm trying to
newish.
find out if you have it's newish, okay, because depending on that, you're gonna have one set of preferences or another. You can go to your preferences and you can enable your right click. But even if you don't have a right click, you guys, I'm joining us from my other computer so that I can demo on my newer computer for her. I teach on the one that's a bit older, and so it's just kind of easier, but my preferences in this computer are gonna be different than the one she has because there's been a
Recording in
change.
progress.
Your computer audio. There we go. Let me stop my share here for a second. And if you are on a Mac, for eons, a right click was hitting that control key, control and click, that's a right click. Okay. Whenever you want to do a right click, if you don't want to do anything else, enable the right click on your touchpad, then you hold down control and then you click, and that will give you a right click. But if you do want to enable your right click, and this is important for everyone who is on a Mac, because we use right clicks so much for shortcuts, for everything. So if you do want to right click on a Mac, sorry, I think this is Photoshop I have open here. Head down in your dock somewhere, you'll find your system settings. If not, go up to your Apple, and then you'll go over there to find your system settings. And then you head down to keyboard, trackpad, or mouse. If you have a mouse, this is where you modify them. Since you said you had a trackpad, you go to trackpad. And then over here, you have to turn on the secondary click. So if you don't have it turned on, it'll probably say off, secondary click. Secondary click is your right click. So click on that and then say click or tap with 2 fingers, which is the top choice. And then on your keyboard, you put 2 fingers on it, and then there's your right click. Okay, so 2 fingers down exactly at the same time gives you a right click. All right, so if I wanted to go and change this is Photoshop, say, and it's the same. If I wanted to change the rulers here, click on that, and then, oops, then I didn't give it. Click on that, and then go to inches. Click on that, right click, so it's go to points. Okay, so, and then right now I'm showing you Photoshop, but Photoshop, Illustrator, and Design, the rulers behave the same. Deirdre, did that work for you? Did you find your settings? If not, do you
did,
want to
thank
share your
you.
screen? Okay, great. So now all Mac users, even if you don't enable your Mac forever, like from the beginning of the history, the right click was always control click. Okay, so you can always do that if you are wondering if your pad doesn't work or something. Okay, sharing again from my other computer, and here we go. Let me go back to InDesign. Okay, so all right, so that's for sizing and stuff. Now I like to see my pages all the time, and in this initial essentials formatting that we're using, that the computer defaults to, notice that I switched to a different one, and there's no pages there. I'll switch to a book, and there's, the pages are visible first thing. So wherever format of workspace that you're in, you'll see them in different places. I'm going to go back to the essentials, which is the one that that we're using. But then I hate that the properties and page hides the properties. We need to see the properties all the time, but I want to see the pages as well. So what I'm going to do and show you is drag the pages out and put it here on this little pad. Now, I know that at some point I added some stuff here that you might not have. I think I had asked you to put the links. Maybe I asked you to put the characters. I'm going to go and reset my essentials to go back to how it kind of comes, which means nothing extra, right? There's just properties, pages, and libraries. And now I'm going to open the links I know that I wanted. And so it opens there, and this little side tab that it opens and closes, my layers open and close. And I'm gonna grab my pages, which I want handy, and I'm gonna drag it over here as well. So how am I doing that? I'm putting my mouse on the word pages, which is just on the word itself, so that it brings the entire panel. And I'm gonna drag until my mouse touches this spot, okay? When my mouse is over here, it's not working. When it touches this little spot there and it goes blue, and I let go, then I've added my pages there. So now I can have my properties right there and my pages right there, and I can have them both. And I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so it doesn't take up so much space. But yeah, this is how I prefer to have my pages handy, to make sure, because if not, see, that's because I told you that I prefer to go like this to a page. I'm accustomed to doing that. If I have this hiding and I'm in properties, then I'm going to always have to go way down here to shift my page, and that's just too far versus doing that. That just works much better for me, okay? So that's why I like to have pages there. So if you want to try that out, go ahead and do that. But notice that if you have it in there when I'm demoing, I'm going to keep the properties here and pages here so that I can be using both of these at the same time, just like I like to have links there. Okay. Once you find a setting that really works for you, you've put everything you want. So for example, I would love to have all of the character documents, type font material in here too. So I'm going to go ahead and go to window and go into type and tables. I'm just going to click on character, and they're all going to pop in. And this again is a loose one that needs to be set. So I'm going to go ahead and drag the character and drag it in here. Now I can just do like that and it pops in. Okay. Now, there's more to all of this, but basically, why don't I just go to something that works better for
Ma'am?
typography yeah?
Before you get too far, where did you find that character tab at? I'm on a PC.
Okay, so all extra all extra tabs that are missing will be under window. For PC or Mac, it doesn't matter. You go up to the word window, and every tab or that you have that you want is
Okay.
going to be there. Okay, so I'm going to want my paragraph and my character tabs. I'm going to put them there. So once you begin to know what you want, you start making your own. But to make it easier, since we're going to be working with typography right now, why don't we just go to the workspace called typography, and to get you accustomed to some other.
I don't have a character tab unless I'm
Okay,
missing it.
you go to type, and then under there you have all kinds of
Oh,
different.
gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah, it used to be, by the way, character was always under C if you're accustomed to the older ones, but now there's so many different type tools that they just put them all under there, and you choose which ones you want. The ones we usually want are character and paragraph. Okay, they're the two starting ones if you're going to put them in like that. And then over here we have a whole nother way. And when you look at this at first, it's really confusing. It's so different than what you've been doing. I'm not going to say that we should do this right now, because I do want to, I've been using the properties panel that I want us to have, and this view doesn't have the properties panel. But as you move forward and getting a little bit more comfortable and independent, you're going to want to go and look at these other options so that you have more possibilities there. Instead of having to open each thing. If you're doing typography, why not have every single typography tool handle? But then there's so many that, like, characters way down there, you know, and then stroke is over there and story is over there. So it's like everything opens and changes when you need space. Effects is over there. Anyway, this one is really advanced typography. We're going to go back to essentials. And then if you have the same things I have, you've been turning on things like me, that's good. If it's a bit of a mess and it doesn't look at all like mine, let's everyone reset your essentials. So we begin from the beginning, and I'm going to have you set it up again with a couple of the basic things that we need. So, so back to essentials, which is where we started, and then reset essentials. Then let's go to open our type and tables. And with that, down there, no, first our links. I really want our links to be handy on top. So let's open our links. And that one automatically will open this long little column. Okay. When you open this long little column, it kind of comes in opened up, but it brings the group, brings layers and links. So that's good to have both of them. Okay. And then we're going to go up to window, and we're going to bring type and tables. And if I click on character, it's gonna be loose, and I'm gonna go up there and type in tables, and I'm gonna go to paragraph. Hopefully we can get around to showing you paragraph character for sure today. So here we go, and I have these two floaters, which is really uncomfortable, so I'm gonna grab them oh, first I wanna put the pages up there because I like the pages on top. So I'm gonna go grab the pages and I'm gonna drag them there. I tend to have the pages even taller, even higher, but never mind, pages over there. So I'm gonna put it, I just messed up by, there we go, pages. Then I'm gonna grab character. Then I'm gonna grab paragraph. So that kind of gives me a whole bunch of comfortable choices. This would be a good spot to create our own workspace. So once you have all of this handy, then you can head over here and say, you know what, let me just create a new workspace and call it, you know, the workspace that I just made. So I'm going to click on new workspace and then call it Diana's workspace or digital design techniques first space or typography, you know, whatever kind of workspace you just made. So I'm just going to say, or my workspace, whatever you want to call it, right? And then I'll say, okay. And so now the workspace I'm using is the workspace Diana. Notice that in other classes, I've gone over here and I've set up a newsletter workspace for a certain place, and I set up a digital design techniques workspace for another class. So each time I'm demoing something different, this time I'm doing Diana workspace. By the way, this one and this one are very similar, only that when it started, it's not collapsed. So see, you create your own, and then you can minimize it. So if you've managed to get around to this, and you want to create one with these tools, then go down to new workspace. Now, when you're like, no, I'm done, I don't want all of those workspaces anymore. If I select the one that I don't want, I'm going to go down to this one. If I don't want it, then I go down here and I delete it. So now I'm going to go to my digital design workspace and I'm going to delete that workspace. Are you sure you want to get rid of that one? Yep, delete that one. So now I don't have that one anymore. Now I have my Diana and my newsletter. Do not delete any of these because they're really helpful, but you can delete the ones that you create if you're done with that system or that layout or whatever. All right. You don't have to create your new one. I'm just showing you how to do it. Other than that, just bring all these things out before we get going. All right. If you've followed me and all is good, or if you decided you don't want to create your new workspace and all is good and we'll move forward, then give me a yes. If it's not working and you really
Diana, I can't get that character to go to that links tab or links bar.
So here's what happens when you have the boxes, right?
Okay.
This is live when the mouse touches that area. So say that I bring this entire, I'm going to hold it from the word paragraph. I bring this entire box over, nothing's happening until, see how my mouse is touching the G of the word paragraph right there. So until my mouse doesn't touch that little bit, it won't go blue. So you can be all over the place and it won't work, but your mouse, so you put your mouse that's holding it in that little spot. When you see that little box go blue, then you let go. Okay.
That's not that's not the problem. The problem with mine is it doesn't let me grab the character tab.
Okay. Why don't you share your screen then so that I can see how it's happening? And I'm sure, by the way, that if she's having problems, you're all having problems. So do ask. I need to make you a little bit bigger. Give me a sec here. Okay, so where are you? Here we are. Okay, your character tab is way over there on the left side.
Oh, it was floating off the screen. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, I see it on way outside of yeah, so go grab that whole box and bring it in. Okay, and then there you go.
Okay,
Perfect.
okay, it was just off my screen, so
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, so it didn't seem that it was appearing, yeah, because it was mixed with all the other stuff.
Okay.
Yep, there it was. Good. Thanks for asking. Make sure that you got it all working for you. All right, before I share my screen again, anyone else? Any questions?
Yeah, I put a question in the chat.
Oh,
Just, I can't see how
would
you
you remind me how you're showing a 2-page view? So let me make sure that I've got the right, okay, there we go. So you mean when I want to see the spread like that? Is this what you mean?
Yeah, when I opened it,
Okay.
I only have a one page.
Yeah,
view.
so basically if I'm on page 1, I will only see one page because page 1, I kind of haven't repeated this, but maybe some of you might have missed this, but this is how we show anything that's in book format. Page 1 is only half of it, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 would be spreads, and then page 8 would also be only one page. So if you want to see the 2-page view, you would have to go to one of these guys. If you don't have it this way, maybe you turned off facing pages. Do you have only single pages going here?
Yeah, I understand that. I
Okay.
just have a single page, so I don't have
So-
any follow-up pages.
Oh, okay. So when we said file new document, over here, go over and get it 8 pages. But since you already have it set up, right? Then how do we add, say that you want to add 2 more pages or take away. In your case, you're going to have to add 7 pages. So we're going to head up to, you can do it from so many different places. One of the places from the properties panel, you can go over here and say, I only want 4 pages and hit return. And now we'll be down to, we've gotten down to 4 pages. So if you have only 1 page there, now write an 8 in there and hit return, and now you'll have 8 pages. Why doesn't everyone do that? Go into that and write 6 and hit return, and we'll go down to 6 pages. That way you can practice that. Now, if you don't have your properties panel, all of this can always be handled up on the very top from layout. And again, since it's a Mac, I can't show you, but under layout, the first choice is pages, and you can add pages that way, insert pages, move pages, and you can do that kind of stuff there with that top choice. I kind of prefer to do it over here where you can insert pages and change pages at your heart's content. Did that work for you, Deirdre? Did everyone change to 6 pages? Does everyone have now 6 pages?
I'd be happy to share my screen, but I do have a small laptop, so I'm not seeing what you're seeing.
Okay, go ahead and share my screen. Yeah, I see that your second post is that it's hard to see what I'm doing in a small Zoom screen while trying to do it at the same time. Yeah, it is hard. So what you might want to do, first of all, you have all of your panels opened and taking up even more space. So go ahead and in this case, go ahead and grab the word paragraph and just drag it out. Like, yeah, no, drag it, no, out to like, go to the white. I want to float it. Yeah, there you go. I want to float it because what I want you to have is the thin column instead of the full on expanded one. So if you go and do Windows and open the links, you're going to get the small pen. So go up to the very window and then choose your links first. Yeah, and that one opened up as a small panel. See that you can go to the little link icon now, click on the link icon and it'll open and close. No, the icon. Yeah, like over to the right. You go to
Okay,
the
I
right
don't
to the
know what
link
you-
icon. Yeah, so
I don't
move
know
your
what you
mouse to the
mean.
right. Move your mouse to the right a couple of inches. Yeah, and then you have a new little column there, right? If you see a little chain link, click on it to open and close. Click it again to close it. Okay, so that saves you the space instead of having a whole nother panel. When you want it, you click on it. When you don't want it, you click on, open and close again. Click, click. Yeah, so now right under that is where I want you to put the paragraph and the character. So now grab, yep. And now click on that to open it. Tab and tab. Okay, and then you can bring in the character. So we need the paragraph and we need the characters one. So now go up to window and pull down the tab types and tables way down there and then pull up the paragraph. But that's the character. Sorry, you already had the paragraph. You're right. You already have I mean, you needed character. You already had the paragraph. So go down and get character. You're right. And now drag it into that grab it into that little column. Yep. And now you can go all the way up again and no, to the in the one that exists by the properties, you have the pages to the right. Yeah, grab the pages and drag it out into that little column again. Yep, perfect. Now go back to properties. And there you go. That's the layout I have. Okay. So now if you want to go up to essentials and say save workspace, new workspace at the very bottom, and then call it your name, call it class or whatever you want to call it. And then say, okay, and there you go. Now you can switch from essentials to this one, and you'll see how it just will always have all of these things ready for you. So now that I demoed it with her, I hope everyone by now has changed it. So now go over to where it says 8 pages there in the properties and change it to 6 and then hit return, and you should have changed to 6 pages. I was going to show you one more thing, but you stopped your share, Deirdre. But it's if you're having a hard time seeing me and your screen, which is completely understandable because, you know, probably a 13-inch whatever window you have is hard to do. You could also hold down the command tab and let me see if I can share that. This is for Mac or PC. I'm going to just do my entire desktop for a second so you guys can see. So if you have a lot of programs and you have shared space and whatever, and you want to go from one tab to the other, you could do command and then keep the command down and then hit tab, and it'll show you everything that's open. Oh, wow, I have a lot of stuff open today. So then I'm going to tab to what I want. Normally, hopefully, see, like I don't need messages. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to quit messages, but you can tab your way. So if you use that, then you can go ahead and have Zoom open, watch me, and then I say, go do it. And then you tab your way to InDesign and you do it. And then you go back to Zoom and you do it, which means seeing me, doing me, seeing it, doing it. But it might help you see better when you are watching my demos. Other than that, yeah, you have to just kind of share my screen with half and half. That's just the way it is. By the way, let me give you guys the Padlet link. Over here, so in case you don't have it, so everyone can go and post their stuff. All right, so one of the things that would be good for you to post is the screenshot of how this whole new workspace and how to make a new workspace. Meaning the you know, the new workspace choice right there. And then that would be a good screenshot too. To show what we've just done with all of that workspace. And actually, we don't need to have the pages open. All right. Cool. So now that we have a bigger document and we're set up with, by now, at this point, 6 pages, because I changed that over there. Let me just have us go to page 4. And here I'm holding on my space key to get the space bar. And I'm clicking and dragging around this way. And so now I'm going to go to my page. What do we have here? 1, 2, 3. Let's go to page 4. Oh, and I can just check over here that I'm on page 4, or you can go ahead and go to page 4 by doing that. I want us to make a big old box rectangle tool. So we're not going to the frame. The frame is what holds text, and the frame holds pictures. We're going right underneath that to the rectangle tool. We're actually going to make a box, big box on page 4. And we're going to fill it, because now in the properties, I've got my appearance appeared. I'm going to fill it with bright pink. It's going to be very, very obnoxious and very, very visible. In fact, if I look at my pages right now, this is what I was trying to accomplish. In my pages, you can see right now they look empty. But once you start putting stuff in, you'll begin to see a little design here of what your pages are. Okay, so everyone make something really big and obnoxious in page 4 so that you have a little kind of thumbnail of what's on your page over here. And if I go to A1, I don't see it, but when I go to A4, I see it. And now the whole point of this, because when you move around the other pages, there's nothing on them. But I wanted to show you, what if you decided that you wanted page 4 to be your 2 or your 3 or your whatever, you want to move things around? You could do that. You can grab it from here and you can just take it up here and tell it that you want to be there. So now I've made it page 3, and page 3 became page 4. It kind of rewraps itself. Or I want to make it be my page 1. And then that's my page 1. And that would be what used to be 1. And that's 2, 3, 4. Does that make sense? You can drag and drop. Maybe I want to make it be my last page. I'll put it there. So you can drag and drop things around. It can only show you this if you made something in it. Otherwise, you wouldn't even tell the difference between page 1 and 2. But when you have stuff on them, you will be able to tell the differences. Now, if you have any items that are being designed across here, sometimes people put a photo that spans both pages, and of course that'll be a mess. You can't do that, right? But if you have individual pages and for any reason it works out for your design to do it, you can move it around. Okay, so now if you've been able to create a box on page 4 and then move it around all over the place willy-nilly, and that works for you, give me a good old yes. If for any reasons it's not working and you have questions, then raise your hands or say no. All right, Monica.
For whatever reason, I can't make a box.
Okay, so no problem. We haven't made boxes yet in InDesign. So head over here to your tools, and there's way down here, there's this one little rectangle with an X, and then right underneath there's just a rectangle tool. Select your rectangle tool, and you're gonna just click and drag.
Ah, okay. Thank you. Somehow I missed that part.
Yeah, if you just simply click, and this is true for Illustrator, for Photoshop, for anything, when you just simply click, you'll get the box that'll say you can write 2
Okay.
by 2, and you say okay, and you'll get a 2 by 2 box. But if you just click and drag, then you get whatever box you just turned into. And then
Thank
over
you.
here is where we'll click on the colors. And for those of you who saw no Illustrator or Photoshop, in InDesign at the beginning, there's a very limited amount of colors. Illustrator gives you a whole bunch of little swatches at the beginning. Photoshop, you have a whole nother way of doing it. And then in InDesign, you just got these basic CMYKs. And then you have, so red, green, and blue. So CMYK and RGB, that's it. That's all you have to start with. So today we're going to talk about how do we get bigger, better, more colors. But right now, just choose any to then be able to move things around. All right, so I'm looking up and okay, Deirdre, yeah, how can I help?
Sorry, which tool is it? Again, my laptop it's hard
Yeah.
to see all of these.
I apologize for it's as good as I can make it as because the tools, even if I would make this page bigger, right, to show you, the tools don't change, right? So anyway, counting down, if you have them in one row like this, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have them doubled up. Okay, so then like that,
Yeah.
if they're doubled up, then kind of 5th row down, you have 2 rectangles. This makes frames in which you insert photos or text. This one makes just a shape. So
Okay.
we wanted just a shape. And then we click and drag to make a shape. And then we went over here to fill and gave it a color. Did that work now?
No, but it's just,
All
sorry,
right,
it's
go ahead and share your
frustrating.
screen. By the way, you guys, whenever it doesn't work, it's really quick to share. Sharing a screen takes 2 seconds, and it's just easier for me to point it to you than to have you guys frustrated and falling behind. So yeah, so go find your rectangle tool, go down to the tools that it is, click on that one, click and drag. There you go. Perfect. Now go over there to the right to the appearance to the properties panel where it says fill. No, you were there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fill
just
the
keep-
little next to the word fill, there's a little, click on that box. And now go and choose one of these. Yep,
Okay,
there you
thank
go. And now open, wait. The assignment was go open your pages tab because we want to move this page around. The reason we made that box is to see it. So go to your little pages icon, which is the bottom one of those columns. Yep, that one. Yeah. And now grab that page 4, which you see in the pages. Yeah. And move it. There you go. You moved it to page 1. Move it at the top. You move it wherever you want. Okay. And I see that you still have 8 pages and we had shifted to 6. So in the same spot on the right, go ahead and change it to 6. And then you'll be down to 6. All right. Don't do that, of course, you guys, once you have stuff in there and you willy-nilly delete, then that's not going to work, right? Because you're going to lose all your stuff. So, my mouse. I need to change my window to see you guys. Okay. All right, so I think that's a yes from everyone. or mostly everyone? How's it going? Goodish? Okay. Those of you who consistently say that they're not, you know, able to follow or something like that, or something's happening, I know I'm not calling on you, don't, you know, I know that you'll be working later on the recording. But for the most part, those of you who are doing stuff, you know, live online are the ones that I for sure need to get the yeses and the nos so that I can move on. Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and say Command minus because I can also just see my 4 pages in there. And what I can't do here is grab this and move it because this is actually seeing my pages. This is not the place where my pages I'm trying to grab and move. I could grab my elements and drag them from a page to another page. Like I could do that, like, oh, this was supposed to be on page 1. But what I can't do is change my page like I did over here, where I actually moved my page 1 to become page 4, right? But here I can just move my elements around in this tiny mode. All right. Okay, so if we've played with all of that kind of stuff, I'm gonna leave that in page 4 and head back to page 1. And I'm going to then make it a full sheet. Command 0. And I'm going to close the pages tab and I'm at page 1 with nothing on it. All right. Once everyone's here, I'll give you a second or two. That's great. I hear you. Thank you. I'm talking to a message that was sent just to me. All right, so over here on the, you know what Deirdre said, that her tools are doubled up. If you have a small screen like she does and the tools don't fit, it's this teensy little double-headed arrow, and then you double them up and they're still there, but they got double up, like they go, this one goes on the left side, this one goes on the right side, this one goes on the left side, this one's on the right side, right? So they double up in the sense that now you have them still, like this would be first, this would be second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, that kind of, in comparison to how we have them down there, okay? So yeah, if you ever don't find it, look in that way. All right, good. We got to the place where we can start doing some text. So let's go to the type tool right there. And for those of you who have it in 1 mode, it's kind of down there. But I'm going to just keep it in 2 for now to make it easier for people with small screens to see all my tools. I head over to the type tool. And if I just kind of, like we've done another, like you would do in Photoshop or in Illustrator, you would just click, nothing happens here. Oh, nothing happens. We need to actually click and drag to make a type area, an area text box, so to say, an area type kind of thing. Who was it? Shelly and Mia. So we were just doing this in Illustrator and I was showing all these different types of boxes, but definitely in InDesign, you only have 1. Let me just show you, you don't need to do this, but this thing here gives us a frame. And you remember that a frame was what holds photos. So if I do this and I want to bring in a photo, last time, just as a quick reminder, up until now, whenever I had you guys bring in a photo, I just had you do Command D or place, and then I had you go find a photo somewhere, baby, and then I said, I'm just showing you this, and then we dropped it in, right? And so the frame was holding the photo. But you could create a frame, have the layout done, which is what, this is what templates do. There's a box that says the photo needs to go right there, right? And then once you have that selected, and it'll always have a big X if it's a frame, it's a placeholder. Then you go Command D and you just go find that same photo. And you say open, and then the photo fits itself into the frame, whatever format. This one was a bit longer, whatever format, but it needs to fit into that frame, okay? That said, you could also create a frame. So that was just an image frame. Okay, So now that was just to show you and to remind you. So now when we go to the type tool and you create a box, that's like a frame, but it's for text. And let's just type whatever to begin and then move back to our selection tool. And you'll see that the box has the same little kind of things that our photo box has. It has a couple of things that are different. So this little guy here, I think I showed this one to you already, right? To round out the text, I think the second or third day. Did we do that here? Yeah, I think it was here because I showed you the little one. All right, so now this is a frame that holds text. Everything has to have a frame, okay? Now I want to delete that one again. And the reason I want to show you how to delete it is because you have to have it selected. You don't have to have the text selected. As long as any part of this is clicked on, the box, you don't have to click on the text itself. That text box gets selected. When you hit the delete key, that's how you delete the whole thing of text. You need to get rid of the text. So say that you made a whole text box, right? And then you don't put anything in it. And then you make another rectangle here, for example, and you fill it with pink. And this is, again, is just showing you stuff. So just because I don't see that text box anymore doesn't mean that I didn't leave it there. I do have a text box there. In fact, if I move out, there it is, right? So make sure not to leave little floaters hanging around. Another way to know if it's there, go to the layers. And in the layers, you can open up and you'll see that there's two things. There's the square and there's a text frame. It just happens to not have anything. When it has text, it's easier to see that it's a text frame, but when it has nothing, it still exists as a text frame, okay? All right, so that was just kind of demoing. I don't need a box. I just wanted to show you that frames, even if they don't have anything in them, still exist. All right, so let's delete that one. And now let's start from 0 again. And let's create a text frame that goes from, I'm going to purposely make it go from the margin on the top left to the margin on the bottom right. So I'm going to click and hold and let go when I'm right there. So now my frame is hard to see because it's exactly on the edges, those pink and purple lines of my margins, but I have a cursor in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to say fill with placeholder text. And when I let go, it'll fill itself with lorem ipsum text. As you can see, it's hard to understand, if at all, because this is Latin. So let me do that again. I made my text box. I right click inside of that text box, or control click for Mac people without them, right click, or just 2 fingers down on a touchpad. And I go to fill with placeholder text. And it fills itself with the text that corresponds to whatever point and size you have here, which now the properties panel has my character tab. So I don't need to go to my characters to see this. It's a repeat. The reason I like to have it here is sometimes I want to go to the character tab without being in my properties panel. But here it is in the properties panel. It says this is Minion Pro regular 12 points, and it gives me a whole bunch of other numbers. Paragraph aligned left. Okay. If this worked, and if you have now a text box, and now I'm going to click away from it. So I'm going to click on the selection tool and click away. I can select it on and off. If that worked for you and you have a good old text box, let's give me a yes. Deidre, how can I help you?
So when I use the double click on the
Not
pad-
double click, not double click. 2 fingers down is different than double click.
Okay, that's what I did. So
Okay.
the options I get are cut, copy, paste, paste in place, search, zoom, transform.
Okay, so then
Yeah.
you're probably not clicking inside of that frame. Is your cursor active and live? Is it blinking? That means you're in the text frame. Then you should get those choices. Otherwise, you're probably right clicking like this on the box itself without the cursor blinking. Okay, So you made a text box, and if it now looks like a box without the blinking cursor, go and select your type tool, click in there to get your blinking cursor. Now right click and you'll have the fill with placeholder text. Okay, so let me talk you through that again. If you have selected the box as a frame with your selection tool, then yes, the right click doesn't give you anything because you're not inside of your tool. That said, even in this mode where you say cut place text, down here it does say fill with placeholder text. So you could find it there. But if you don't find it there, the other option would be to first grab your type tool, click inside of your frame, and then right click and fill it with placeholder text. It's a little bit lower. Did you find it now in one or the other box?
No, maybe I'll just
All right.
watch the video.
No,
Yeah.
share your screen. Share your screen. I'd rather you follow along. You're doing great. You share your screen instantly. Okay, cool. So it's just that, oh, this is not a text frame. That's what's happening. This box that you have is not a text frame. It doesn't have, so go ahead and select, this is a shape, like how you made your shape. So there we go. Now that you put your cursor in it, see at the top left, now you have a cursor. Click, click, click,
Yeah.
see how it's blinking? Okay, now you've made it into a text frame because it works. Now right click. And there it is, way down at the, keep going down, 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 fill with placeholder text is, there it is. And yep, let go, there it is, perfect.
All right, thanks.
Okay, no, it's okay. Never apologize. Let me just say that when I said, oh, it's just that you don't have a text frame, what I was explaining is that there you could have a placeholder, you could have a shape and still fill it with text and it converts into a text frame. But the reason I knew it wasn't a text frame because it had these kind of handles like that. But if you grab a type tool and you click into it, you can still use it as a text frame and fill it with placeholder text, right? So by doing that, you convert it. And see the difference in this is the kind of holders that a text box has versus this is the kind of holders that a placeholder that is an image box has. And let me just say, when you click on them, this has this little O right there, which is has to do with open-end fonts. And when you click on this one, which was just a box I made to fill in with color, it doesn't have that. So you know that this is why I looked at her and I said, you don't have a text box. So I'm just showing you how to distinguish it. The most salient difference is this little O right there. This was made as a text box. This, on the other hand, was made as a rectangle. That said, if I grab my type tool and click into it, I can enter text into it. The frame goes, oh, I'm supposed to be text, okay. And then I can fill it with placeholder text. And so now when you select it again, it's a text box. Does that make sense? How I just used a box, any box, as soon as you put text in it, it turns again into a text box. Why do I know? Because now there's that little O down there, okay? So this was a little pink box. So let me actually go even further. I did an undo. And I'm going to fill it with pink. So you really can see that it's actually a text box. But if I grab a color box, but if I grab my type tool and I click in here and I then do a fill with placeholder text, it just fills. It's just that the box is filled with pink as well, but the text also drops. And by default, it's a text box. Okay.
Diane,
Yeah.
how are you getting the side boxes on the right-hand side?
I just made them right there. I just moved
Oh,
over and made a
all right.
box right there. Mhm.
Okay.
No, that's okay. I just went there and made them there. The placeholder, the pasteboard is a useful area in InDesign. You can put things, snatches of things, a little photo that you don't know if you want to put here or there. You can use it as if it was your workspace, your table where you got all your elements in a collage. You can drop things to the side. So I'm going to delete these to not get confused stuff, but I'm just going to say that this text box that we just made here could have a fill right there. If I go to the fill, I'm selecting it now, and I fill it, and I choose a color, my box has filled with color, not my text. My text hasn't become pink. I could fill my box. So these placeholder text can hold either images or text, or they could have text and a color. I'm going to go ahead and say no, I didn't want color to it, and I'm gonna go back to say none. But what if my intention was that I wanted my text to have color? I wanted my text to be the bright pink one. How do I do that? Well, doesn't seem like there's anything that says text color here. It's because it's the same exact place. We go back to fill. And over here, instead of applying it to frame, we apply it to the text. And now we make that text bright pink. If we go to text, we say now into the frame, please apply blue. So now I have, oh my God, eyesore. I can barely see this, but I have a, now there we go. Still an eyesore, but now I have yellow background on the frame. And on the text, I chose, maybe I'll go for blue. Or deep blue. Or red. All of them are eyesores. These are all these primary colors that are terrible. But if I go back to the frame, I go, no, I didn't want my frame to have color, and I go choose none to my frame. I'm left with just my red text. Now be careful of putting, this is the only part. A lot of times we'll make the text have the same color as the frame. And so, for example, my frame doesn't have color right now. If I go to my text and I make it paper, it's like, whoa, like white on white. You can't see it, but it's not that my text isn't there. It's just that I've made it. Paper is what we call white, like, because basically there is no white ink, right? You don't print white ink. So what you do is you choose paper, and then when the printers come through, they just don't put any color in the area of where the letters should be. And so you're really seeing paper color, right? And that's why that would be white. Let's head back to a color. Let me just head back to black for now. So now I'm back to having boring old black text, and my frame has nothing. Okay. Actually, this is not a bad time to do that, to get your frame with a color and then your text with another color, and then do a screenshot. Now, notice that over here, there's also a little T. When I'm filling in the text, you'll see a T over there. When I'm filling in the frame, it's just color. Okay, so it just goes with, it just turns into just color. All right, so let's do a screenshot of that. You don't need to do the whole thing, but of this little box for frame and that little one for text. Okay, so it gives you an idea of where we're getting all these colors from. And then I'm going to go back to boring old black text and no fill for my frame, and I'm back where I started. If all of this worked for you, if you were comfortable switching back and forth and you kind of understand what's happening now with this, give me a yes. If you need any more explanation, don't ever hesitate. Even if you're the only one who is saying no, that only one who is saying no needs to understand as far as the way I teach. So please tell me no, or can I share my screen, or it's not working for me. I definitely want you to do that. It takes me 2 seconds to help you versus 10 steps from now when I just say change the font color and you don't know how to do it, then by then I'm on something else. Okay, so give me a
Diana?
yes if that worked. Yes.
I have a dumb question, sorry. So the
Nothing's dumb.
screenshot, how do we do the screenshot again and put it in Padlet?
Yeah, so are you on a Mac or on a PC?
PC.
Okay, so on a PC, and let me put here the Padlet link again, you guys, in case some people drop in and out and then the Padlet link goes away. If you ever doubt, my first post in the Padlet is how to make a screenshot. Like if you
Okay.
forget, because I'm not around, just go to Padlet and read, and then either you do the whole, snip tool, whatever, or you just copy the text by going Windows key, which I cannot demo because I don't have a Windows key.
Okay. All right.
Shift S, and then you select the area. Okay,
All
which would
right.
be equivalent to Shift Command 4, where I get this little cursor, but it's in the Windows, it's kind of cool because when you do Windows key Shift S, the whole thing goes kind of gray. And when you drag open, you see what you're dragging versus here, it just gives you a change in the cursor, and it's up to you to know that you just made a screenshot. Okay. All right. So go ahead and give me some Perfect. There you go. There's some screenshots of this work that we're doing. All right, back to InDesign. So now I'm looking up, how's it going, you guys? Shelly said yes, Moni, Julie, you're working on it. Deirdre and Miguel, how are you doing?
I'm just having some challenges today with the small font on the small laptop, and I'm having a hard time following where the fill button is for the color.
Okay, it'll be in the properties panel. So, but you need to have selected the box. So say if you don't have this selected, then it's empty. Then there's nothing there. So you need to select the box that contains the text. And then you'll have over here the appearance. Is that appearing for you? If you have a small box, it might be that it's way down there. Like if you have a small computer, you might need to scroll down a bit, or you might need to collapse something to see it. Did you find it, or do you want me to help you find it?
I can't find it. Sorry.
Okay, share your screen. No, guys, every time, Julie did it too. You apologize for asking, and I'm requesting, right? You guys, so don't apologize. It's fine. It's good. Okay, so on the right side, maybe you have Zoom on the way, but on the right side in your properties panel. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, right there. There it says appearance, and you see a big old T for fill.
Yes.
Yeah, click on that. There we go. And now it's already set up to text. So that means that you're going to change text. Click on blue. Yeah, you were, okay. So I see what's happening. You were, yeah, click away. I saw what was happening and I was going to say, well, maybe it'll work anyway. See how your cursor is way down there, like the blinking cursor? Your blinking
Yeah.
cursor is way down at the very bottom under like that by the word face Sequemus or something. Yeah, and now you're selecting text, which is not what I wanted you to do. So let me clarify. You can select text. I'm not saying you can't, but just go to your selection tool now. Selection tool.
I
Up
don't
at
know
the
where
very
that
top,
is.
the black arrow. Selection tool is way at the very top, black arrow. Click on the black arrow. Yeah. Now select your box. Select your text box. No. Just click on it. Just simply click on it. Yep. There you go. And you can on the box or any of the text. That takes care of the frame. Before, what you were doing was selecting actual text, which is fine. We're going to do that for now. I'm just dealing with the entire frame and what it holds, and what it holds is text. So now if you go over to the same appearance fill where you were before, so go to the right side, go down there. Yeah, click on the box that has that nothing on it because the fill is none. Go down now and choose blue or something. And that's filling the frame because you selected the frame, right? And that's why you have the choices of frame or text. So now go up where it says apply to frame right above you. And then choose text. And now you can change the color of your text. Go down there and choose any color, doesn't matter. Anything other than black because it's already black, so choose a color. Right? So now you can choose because you're holding on to the frame, both parts of it, the fill for the frame and the color for the text. Before, what you did, which was selecting text, then you only had the text choice to fill the text, and but then if you have a type tool, then you have to choose, select your text first. So this works as a way to handle. So now let's go back to having no fill, black text. So that we're back to the beginning. So no.
Sorry, I
You're
just wanted
fine.
to grab that because you asked for it for the Padlet. So I go to
Oh, that was a sorry. So go back to text. And now choose black text. We're going to kind of go back to the beginning and then go to the frame and say none. We don't want to fill on the frame. Okay, and we're kind of back to the beginning. Now, what you were doing wasn't necessarily wrong for text. Okay, you were selecting the text, but that means you're in the type tool. And that if you're in the type tool, then you do have to select. Okay, go ahead and select your type tool, which on the very far left, the type. This is for everyone. This is new, you guys. So now, if you are on the type tool, right, and you go try to change, go ahead now with the type tool and go try to change your type. Go now to the thing and try to change your type color. Go to fill. Oh, because you don't have your cursor in there. So is this still gonna work? You need to have, what you had was you had your cursor and your type tool, click anywhere, click inside of there. Like I need you to see your blinking cursor. You're in your type tool, go back
Can
to your
you see
type
the
tool,
arrow?
you left. Yeah, go to the type tool again.
I'm not sure
One
which
down,
one's the
one
type.
down. The T is the type tool. One down, that one, type
Okay.
tool. Click on the T. Okay, and now when you click in there, now you've put in that blinking, see how right there, there's a blinking cursor?
Yes.
That is when you're having a blinking cursor, which is when you first shared your screen, you had a blinking cursor, you were in this situation, or your cursor was in the bottom. This is where you guys, when you have your, so everyone should be doing this. You should be going, grabbing your type tool and clicking in your text to have a blinking cursor. Once you're in the type tool with the cursor, what you are doing right now is all you're doing is modifying text. So say that you want to correct, there was a typo there, and type something, type XYZ, I don't care, type something right now, Deirdre. And see, you're modifying text. But at this point, the only thing modified is that which is at your cursor's tip. So if you were to now go to the fill, which is what you were doing, and I want to show you why it wasn't working, go to the fill and try to change the color. Change it to blue or pink, something obvious. Guys, see how nothing's happening. Why? Because she didn't have any particular piece of the text selected. That said, go ahead and type something now. Type, go to your keyboard and just type something. Oh, you're in the tint. Yeah, go to your keyboard and just type something. Oh, you moved it. No, you moved it. You had to be exactly where you were because you had changed that spot to blue. So go back to your type now. Click at the end of what you just wrote.
Sorry, where? Right here?
Yeah, at the end of what you just wrote. Perfect. Now
Okay.
go change your type color with the text fill. Yep, perfect. Click on the T. Make it bright blue, a color, or bright pink, something very obvious. Yeah. Now you've said, give me pink. It's as if you changed your pen to your marker. Now, don't click anywhere else. Just go to your keyboard and like, if well, you have to leave your frame box. Yeah, click there. And now just start typing. And what you're typing now is coming out pink. You've changed your ink color. See that?
Yes.
So now you're typing in pink. But the moment you go and click somewhere else, which is black ink, go and click anywhere else in that text, like leave that area and go click on the third paragraph or something. And now you're back to black ink because you're in an area of blank ink. You see that, you guys? So the area where you changed your color ink changes. Now, if you were to want to have all of that change, you would definitely have to select the text, which is what you were doing correctly at first. So go ahead and now select some text. If you do a triple click, your whole paragraph will get selected right now. So 1, 2, 3. Not right click, but just tick, 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 tick. Like, yeah, that's 2 clicks gives me 1 line. Now do 3 times. Tuck, tuck, tuck. It's most people aren't accustomed to the third one. It's 3 in a row.
I'm doing 3 in a row.
Let's see. Oh,
Do it again.
4.
2,
Sorry,
3.
we're in InDesign. And InDesign it's 4. There you go. That gives you the whole paragraph. And InDesign is the only one where it's 4. Everything else it's 3 for a paragraph. Now notice that when you go to your fill, it has a question mark. And why? Because you have 2 colors in there. You had your black and you have selected also the little bit that had pink text in there. So when you go over to the right to the fill, go to the right, it doesn't give you one color or another. It has little 4 question marks because it can't tell you that it's 2 colors. So now go choose yellow, blue, red, whatever. And now it's all changed. But this is the part that I hate about this. You clearly chose cyan, but the selection isn't showing you cyan because it gives you the inverse color because it's selected. So you won't see it cyan unless you click out of that. You can see over there the big old T has a color. So now you have to click away. There you go. Now you see that you, yes, in fact, had chosen cyan. So now you can choose different portions of this to change it color at willy-nilly. So keep doing that. Choose another little bit and give it another color. But now we're truly talking, we're in the type tool and we're selecting text. And now click away again. And there you go. Now you can see the pink. So this is individual. The first time I showed you was the whole box, everything that was in it. And in this case, we're talking about individual bits and pieces of text. Okay, perfect. Good work. Thank you, Deirdre.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, before I go again, hopefully everyone tried all of the different choices that we just did with the box, with the type tool, selecting individual type. And most importantly, if all the text is black and you just select your cursor with nothing selected and change your color ink, anything you write from there on, it's like you grabbed a different marker. It's not selected, but now you've changed to a different color. So if you're actually typing, you can then change your color to another and type again, and then it'll come out green, and you change your color and come out blue, and then you have multicolors as you type. But most of the times text you don't type it in InDesign. You might type a headline. Most of the times you kind of drop in a bunch of text that the author, the writer, the client gave you that you wrote already. It's a book you wrote and you're formatting it. So normally we handle text in big blocks like we did at the beginning and only select a portion that needs to change, which is what we did second. If all of that worked for you, then give me a yes. Looking at the time, calendar. Okay, we're doing great because my alarm to give you guys a break just showed up, but I don't want to give you a break yet. So hang in there for just a little minute more. I'm going to show you a few more things before we take our break. All right, so InDesign. All right, so basically if I treat it with a selection tool as a box, I can change frame and text. If I treat it as text, then I need to make a selection and then I can change it a color, okay? But to see the color, I then have to click away. All right, so that was just me redoing what we all did. So I'm gonna undo because I want to go back to having all my text in black. And it does matter because of something I'm gonna show you later. I want you now to select, like, make everything black, and then let's select the second half of this page. Just the second half of this page of text, all of that. And now that one, make it, bright pink or something, and now move away. So I want a specific half and half of our text to be 2 colors. Okay. So maybe you have to select all your text first and turn it all into black. And then with the type tool now, because we are selecting a portion of it, we select the whole bottom part and make it pink or any color. Just, I'm saying pink because it's very clearly different. When you choose dark blue, it's kind of hard to see. So I want something that's very, very obviously different. All right. I'm going to click I'm going to clear your feedback so that if you have any questions, something's not working, make sure to just pop up a little no up there or raise your hand. And now watch. Now what we're going to do is this text box is holding my type and it has a certain shape. But what if I change the shape of it? What if I grab it from this little handle and drag it to the middle? Then my text has wrapped itself. And the reason I know that it's still there is because I changed, since it's Latin and we can't tell, it's not that I cut off half of it. It has rewrapped to fit in better. And I'm going to now make it a little bit bigger. And so now I see more of the pink, and a little bit bigger, and I see more of the pink, and all the way back to the beginning. I'm going to do the same from the bottom. This time I'm going to close and lose so much of it that I don't see pink at all. I'm only seeing the top portion of the text. And then as I go down, I begin to see the pink. Okay, until I'm going to go back to where I came from. So that means that just like the same as the picture, the frame, remember in the photo or an image that I brought in, if I change the size of my frame, and let me just do that again to show you guys. Let me bring in an image. Where was my, okay. If I remember that if I had a frame, if I grabbed the frame and started moving it in, I would basically hide what's there. Same with the text. I'm showing or hiding I have a lot of text in there as much as I had this little baby boy. But if I move and change my frame size with those little handles, I will hide portions of it. So I'm hiding portions of my text. Is that clear? All right. Now, what if I was trying to make 2 columns out of this? Well, I can't, I wouldn't, you know, I could do it by hand and make a column, then make another box and make a column. But we're going to go ahead and head over here and see if we can change that. And when we go over here to the properties panel, there's nothing in particular right now that is helping me change any columns because I'm inside my box. So I would have to go all the way to the top to layout and choose margins and columns, which is kind of going back to the beginning setup. And now I'm going to say that I want 2 columns. And then I'm going to say, okay. Let me just move this out of the way. So now I've got my page set up as 2 columns. See that? I'm going to undo that. And yet my text box isn't fitting within those 2 columns. I could have, by the way, had I started from the beginning, I could have done that. But since I put in my 2 columns later, now I can grab the box and have it fit like right to that beginning, okay? To the first, there's 2 lines here. That's the gutter. So I want this box has to go to that line and my next text box will start here. So this line, the edge of this has to go right there and has to snap right there. So if you have it a little bit bigger, you're inside the gutter. If you have a bit smaller, you're outside the gutter. So you need to snap this line to that one, okay? You go over there and you snap the line to that one. And now we have 1 column. Life is good. But where's the rest of my text? First of all, tell me if you managed to get 2 columns and you managed to fit it inside of there. And I'm going to undo all of that and do it again so that I can show you the I know that's my alarm to give you guys a break. So I went up to layout, margins and columns, and I chose 2 columns. And I'll say, okay. So now my box, my frame isn't fitting well, what was fitting well before. So I'm going to select it and drag it over until it fits that first column. If you got to that point, give me a yes. If you need help doing this, right now is a good time to say to say no or raise your hand. And don't anyone think that any question someone said, oh, it's a stupid question. It is not. Nothing is a stupid question. It is, if it's not working for you, you need to make it work. So nothing should not be asked. All right. So it's working for everyone. I'm seeing yeses across the screen. Okay, cool. All right. So where's the rest of my text? It's disappearing. It's gone. And way over here at the very bottom of my box, way at the very bottom of my box, I see a little plus sign. Okay. That little plus sign, and I'm having to zoom in because it's hard to see. It doesn't change. When I go bigger or smaller, that plus sign is always this tiny little box. It doesn't get bigger with my text. So it's always that tiny little box, right? So that little box is telling me that there is overset text. Overset text means there's more text in this box that you're not seeing. Especially if you don't understand the language or someone gave you the text, you wouldn't know. If it's your poem, you'd know you didn't have the last stanza or whatever, but if not, you have no idea what this is. So the only way to know is by seeing this little marker. So let me move this out of the way. So I want to pick up that text. And remember, I'm doing all of this with my selection tool. I'm going to pick up that text and I'm going to pick it up by putting my tip of my mouse, the actual tip of my arrow, right on that little X and clicking. The first time, if it wasn't selected, it selects. The second time, it gives you the text. It pops onto the tip of your tool, kind of like the photo came before we placed it. Now I have the rest of my text in here and I can do whatever I want with it. I'm going to go ahead and click over here and let go. And all my text is coming in to the second column. I'm going to do that again. Because it's formatted as columns, I can just simply click at the beginning of where the second column should be and drop it. And there it is. The second portion of my text dropped in. Now I look down here. Yes, it's clear that I have some space. That's one way to know that there's space, but mainly I look down here and I see no more plus signs. So I know that it's all in. I could have had a space and more text. So that means there's no more text. I'm going to make this one shorter and whoops, there it is. There's more text. Okay. I'm going to make it bigger again until it tells me there's no more text there. But now I'm actually make this one shorter. And so the text that didn't fit in here is going into there. And thus at the bottom of this one, I do see that there's more text. There's a plus sign. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys to give me yeses or nos if this is working for you. There's this little arrow now where the plus sign used to be, there's an arrow. And the arrow means that this is going on somewhere. And at the end of this, there's more text. I'm going to pick up the rest of that text, clicking on that again. And just because I'm going on break, I'm just going to make a little box here to drop the rest of the text. And there it is. And I'm going to make it big enough till I get nothing there. So that's the rest of my text, which I could then put on another page. But right now, all I'm trying to show you is that there was more text. And I'm going to delete that again because I want to keep these two. Now, if you're doing this in Illustrator, it automatically shows you the threads. And in Design, you have to go up to View, Extras, Show Text Threads. View, Extras, Show Text Threads. And then you'll have a thread pointing from here to there. If I move this around, it's going from here to there. I'm going to drop this back in its place. That continues there. I'm going to go ahead and make this much shorter. So that continues there. I'm going to make it long. That continues there. And there's no more text thread. Now, if I do make it shorter and I pick up this text from there, flip, and I make another box there, then I have another thread. This continues there and this continues there. Okay? So if you've managed to do that and it's all working, everything I just showed you, give me a yes. If it's not working, give me a no. And once everyone says yay and okay, we'll take our break. Everything I'm showing you right now is identical in Illustrator. Okay? It's identical. So just while you guys are trying that, so if I'm an Illustrator here and I'm making a new document, I'm going to just say, okay, create. There's only one difference, which is in Illustrator, you can do another type of text, but if I were to make a type tool there, it fills with text automatically, okay? Versus in Illustrator and in Design, we had to bring it in, right? So then it does the same thing. If I make it smaller, it'll have that little plus sign. I'll click on it from there and I'll make another one there. And there it is. It's following through and I make another one there and it's following through. Okay. So this is basically, this is Illustrator. I'm showing you that everything I've shown you is identical. But here, the threads don't need to be opened up. They just show up. Okay. I'm looking over. I think I'm getting yeses for everyone from everyone. Let's save this before we go on break. So let's say Command or Control S or File Save. And let's call this one Type Practice, Type or Text Practice. And let's say save. Cool. Okay, what time is it? 10:46. Ooh, that's comfy. So we're gonna meet at 11:01. I did this yesterday too, at exactly 10:46, because then the break was be back at 11. Oh, it changed to 10:47, so be back at 11:02 a.m. All right, see you guys in 15. Okay, All right, I'm back. If you are back, give me a show of life. There you go, Mark. I like that. A little wave does the job. Otherwise, some good little emojis or videos. Yay, everyone's back. Okay. Oh, headsets back on my ears. In case anyone did say something, I didn't hear you. I'm seeing you. All right. Cool. So, I left you at the whole threading and connecting text boxes with your overset text, little red plus sign, which indicates overset text. How's that going? Everything's good? Give me a good old yes again. Something came up during break you tried, or something that you hadn't completed before break that you tried. Give me a wave of your hand or something so that I can help you. All right, looks like I'm getting a lot of yeses. So Lisa, Monica, perfect. Monica, you're back, yay. So I know that you missed this part, but I think you've done this before, no? Somehow or another. So did it work this time? Do you want a little reminder, share your screen, something, or?
A quick reminder of the steps would be great.
Okay,
Just like to do this.
yeah. Okay, so let me.
Might help
bring
everyone.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, so here's what we were working on. One thing I didn't show you is you guys right now, at the last part of last class, we're talking about before you print, you need to check for errors and pre-flight errors and stuff like that. And so we look down here and there's no errors. Why? Because I made my third box. I'm going to delete this third box. And now there's an error. So if you have any little box that has overset text, it'll be an error. I'm going to turn this box off too. And now we're back to, I think we had a whole box there and we turned it into 2 columns. That doesn't matter too much right now. Just make one box smaller. Don't worry about the 2 columns. But the important thing is that when you have a little plus sign, you pick up the rest of the text and then you drop it again. And in this case, we dropped it into a column just because we had the column. For you, just drag another one out. And then to see the threads, you have to go up to View, Extras, and then here you would have to show the text threads. I need to do it again because it was on off. So Extras, View Extras, Show Text Threads. Okay. Once they're showing, it switches back to hide, right? And so you have to hide or show. But either way, you end up with this plus sign here means overset text. So if you go to this error and you want to see what it is and you click on the pre-flight panel, it'll tell you that the problem is that you have overset text on which text frame. On text frame 1, you click on that and it'll jump you to that. So say that I'm working on page 4, right? And then I go and see, oh, it looks like I have an error. And I go up in my pre-flight panel and I go, well, I don't see it. How do I get there? I click on there and it brought me here to my mistake or to the error. Okay. So the computer the pre-flight panel just points it out and says there. And I go, oh yeah, I see that. I hadn't noticed. Maybe I missed, maybe I resized my font, right? So I'm going to make now that we're back, I'm going to make my second pickup. I'm going to go to page 2 and I'm going to drop it here. And this one has no columns because I only put it on one page. And I'm going to go over here. And so now it's coming from that page. See, I'm going to go down. So what if instead of on page 2, I would have put this on at the bottom of page 5, you know, and it says ending on page, you know, you read the cover, and it says continued on page, you know, whatever, 75. Well, if I were to now get all of this pink out, and so this is my page 1, then once I get to page 75, here's all that text. No matter if it's page 75 or page, 91 or page 2. Okay, so the thread will point to the fact that that is there, which is why a lot of people don't show that threads all the time. Because if you have a lot of this going on, you'll see like threads all over the place. It can get kind of confusing. But if you're ever in questioning, is this continuing the right way? Then you can do that and go, oh, that's where where did I put the rest of my text? Ah, what page did I put it on? Turn on the text threads and you'll go, oh, there it is. Oh, okay. So on page, in this case, page 5. I'm going to drag it over here to page 2. And then it continues from page 2. And I know that this is seeing it from afar, but it's on purpose in the sense that I can go ahead and I'll expand page 1. And then that one gets smaller and this one gets smaller. I'll make it fill the first column. And there's only a little bit left for the second column. If I fill the third column down here, I'll discover I only have 2 lines left. If I fill the whole column, there's nothing, but my text frame is still there and it's still connected. So if I were to then move this, because I had placed it, so then I changed the font. So let's do this. We're gonna, if we change the font size, I'm selecting the first box.
Diana, before you get any further, I would like to put text in. So I need to quickly get the 2 steps.
Oh.
I made a box and I put
Sorry,
on my
you make
text.
a box.
I went to my type tool.
Yeah, and now right click and say fill with placeholder text.
Right.
But what we
click.
did
Okay.
to have a lot of text, what we did is we made a really big box on the first page, really fill the screen. Right click, fill with placeholder text. And so that gave us enough text to now play around with all these boxes. Okay, so now we have enough text.
I right click and whereabouts is the place with text hold?
Down.
When I right click, it says, okay.
It's
Text frame.
down here, just fill with placeholder text. Depending if you're in your type tool or in your arrow tool, it'll be either there or kind of down here.
I am in my type tool and I do not get that.
All right, so share your screen so I can help you catch up.
Sorry. Okay,
No,
hold on.
that's okay.
No, my Zoom doesn't want to. There. No.
Mm.
How do I? No, there we go. Share screen.
I have to say that from afar, you guys, I don't know if you've noticed, but when you guys are in little boxes, when I see Julie, that I'm seeing her from the side and I'm seeing Monica from the front, you guys look very similar.
It's the hair.
Yeah, and glasses, like if I saw your face, because I'm not seeing Julie's face, right? I'm just seeing her
Right.
from the side and her glasses, and I see you from the front, and it's like, oh, you guys look, is that you or is this you? All right, so you made yourself a type. Okay, so now,
Yes.
so
So I'm on
now
type.
you're in type. So in
Type
order
tool.
for it to work there, yeah. So in order to work for you with it on the type tool, you have to
Mhm.
click to have a cursor. If you had the selection tool, then it would work. But if you're in a type tool, you have to click in your type box. Go into your type box, the one
Yeah.
that you made. You made it. Oh,
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
in there. Click to have a
Uh-huh.
cursor. Good. Now your right click will fill. You need a cursor there
Ah.
to say that it's filled. Then you'll have it and it's kind of down somewhere
There
there.
it
One
is.
more down.
Okay.
Mhm. And if
Oh,
you had
perfect.
your
Okay.
selection tool, then it would have worked directly. Okay, because it's different if it's type or if it's
Okay. Cool.
or if it's a frame.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Share my screen. And I was just thrown for a loop because I look up and I heard you talking to me, but I looked at the video and I said, she's not moving her mouth. And it's because I was looking at Julie's video. When you're sharing, your faces get small. When I'm sharing, I see you big and then I know whether it's Julie or Monica. But when you guys are sharing, I have the little boxes, which is kind of like what you see. And how can you be talking without moving your mouth? It was kind of this moment of weirdness.
Oh,
All right.
I'm one of those tranquillicus.
All right, cool. So I was gonna show you, so I'm gonna head back up to for those of you who moved type back and forth, I'm gonna go ahead and make again one of these fill in. Let's make this box big here so that anything that we do here will still fit. And now I'm gonna go ahead and change. So I'm selecting just the first box, you guys, okay? You see there? And I'm not in my type tool. I'm just doing box work right now. Selection, placeholder, text box selection. Now, if I get over here and I want to change my fonts in the properties panel, I don't see them. I don't see the characters. See what I mean? That if I want to do something with this text without having my type tool, they don't show up here, which is why I like having them up here. Does that make sense? So let's, well, right now when I'm opening it up, because I'm in this mode where I have all the boxes, it doesn't show me anything. So I need to go back. Let me go into page. Let me go make this thing bigger now. I'm going to go back to page 1. So when I first made a box, let me just show you what I'm talking about. Let's go to page 5. So I want this disconnected. I don't want the next thing that we're going to do. I don't want it connected to that text. Then we're going to come back to this one. Let's go to page 6 here, which is empty. So 4, 5. Okay, this is page 5. Let's go over here. Oh no, because we only had 6 pages. I thought we were doing 8. Okay, so let's go to page 5. And let's make a text box. And let's make it any size. I don't care, but not yay big. And let's fill it with placeholder text. Okay, and then I'm going to move up. Sorry, I'm going to move up. And now I'm going to leave my type tool and go back to my selection tool. So when we had this box and just this one box, we were able to, with the selection tool, right? Remember, with the selection tool, I was able to go over here to Minion Pro. Well, I came here and I gave color to the text or to the frame, but I could also have gone here and changed the font to make it really big. I'll make 60-point font. Immediately, what does that give me? Remember what this is called? Who wants to call it out? What this little box is called? Hello.
Overset text.
Thank you. Overset text box. Thank you. So this box appears because I made my font really big. I'm going to go ahead and make my font, a little bit smaller, but still big. So there's still overset text. The whole point is that I don't have my type tool. I just have my selection. I can grab my frame as we did before and we colored it. Remember I said, let's go to text and color it pink. We did that, but we can also change the font type or style. I can make it be that font. And I am not in my text tool. I am changing anything that's in my box. Okay. That's kind of what we did at the beginning, only I'm adding the fact that I'm changing font and font size. Yeah, you're all in agreement with me up until now? Now, if I go all the way back to the first page, then how come if I select the first page, I don't have those choices? The first, not page, the first box. And when I go over to the character, I don't have those choices, right? So if I were to select all my boxes that have any text whatsoever, would I be able to change that? Like every one of my text boxes, right? Let me select all 3 of them. It still doesn't give me that choice. Once you begin to break it up, right, into boxes, into that kind of stuff, now you have to treat this text as text because it's been broken up. However connected it seems, it has been broken up. So if I had first laid out all my text and made it, a different font and a different size, when it breaks up, it keeps it. But now that it's all broken up, I kind of have to be in my type tool. Once in my type tool, I can click and drag one paragraph, or I could click the Command or Control A, or I could go up to the top and say select all, and it does select all my text, top to bottom, all my connected boxes. So I can click and drag and select, and it keeps going. And I select, if I have all 3 pages, I can keep going. Or I can just say, click into the text first. When your type tool, you click, you have to have your cursor in it. Then you say Command or Control A, or you select everything. Then you can change all the font to, font 22 or into, whatever other font that I want. And it does go then across the board, okay? But you need to make that selection as text, otherwise it won't do that. Yes, Moni?
So I just tried with my selection tool. If I click 5 times, it automatically selects everything. And then I can go and it turns it into the text tool. And then
So
I
if
don't
five times is like a select all, okay?
Yeah.
So one with the text tool, one selector per one click puts your cursor in. 2 selects one word. 3 one line. 4 one paragraph, and 1 2 3 4 5 select all. I like 1 2 and 3 clicks. By the time I get to 5, I prefer the Command or Control A, because select all has in any program in the entire world that you use, not just Adobe, Command or Control A is select all for everything. Word, Excel, PowerPoint, whatever you do. When you do Command A, it works. But if you want to sit there and do 5 clicks, go for it. There you go. You selected all the text. Love it. Love it. Even 4 kind of makes sense to me because its entire paragraph got selected, which is cool. But I kind of think that it's easier to just do that to the paragraph. But in the rest of the world, 3 clicks is an entire paragraph. Here, 3 clicks is just one line. And then 1 2 3 4 is one paragraph, and 1 2 3 4 5 is select all. And then if you go 1 too many because you did 6, it selects again. So by then I'd rather just do Command A and to select all. But thank you for that. Yes, I always use up until 4. I never use the 5th, so I had forgotten that. So I love reminders or discoveries. Now watch. If you don't have any overset text, make some overset text. So if your last box is empty, then make something smaller or make your font bigger, because I want overset text. Okay, I want overset text. Now, I'm going to select all, either by clicking 5 times or by saying Command A. And remember, sorry, I have to be in my type tool, right? Because if you are in your selection tool and you say select all right now, you're getting text, you're getting photos, you're getting boxes, you're getting everything. So be careful with the Command A, because it's also dangerous, because every single box in my entire document means select all, not just what's on one page. Okay. So in my type tool, inside I click one time inside my text, and then I do select all or 5 clicks, then it only selects what's in there. It didn't select any other text. Okay. Now, if I were to change this color, say to like a very different green, right? And if I were to change this font to something very different, this blockhead, when I click away, everything that is visible changed. But what happened to what's hiding? If I click and drag it open, it still worked, right? Because I did a select all. So it's anything that was hiding is still considered part of it. And if I click and bring in some more, it still has changed because I did a select all. Okay. So select all includes anything in that overset text. So if I now go and make this bright blue and I click away, and then if I were to want some more text, because I still have overset text, if I keep clicking this and making it open, it's still blue. All right. So even if this one's missing, if I was missing all of these and I change this type, and I do 5 clicks, or change it back to something, little script. When I then make this bigger, all of it is still in script. Okay. Any questions about this, everything that I've been showing you? And I've been showing it to you really far out just because we're talking about big boxes and stuff. But if I'm going to show you this whole thing I did again here in a little bit bigger mode, which is that if I were to now select some overset text from here, make another little box over here, but I still have a lot of overset text left, right? If I click and only select this stuff that I see, right? And change it to say pink, right? Then when I go and select my box to make it bigger, what's underneath is still blue because I actually selected those first 3 paragraphs. So only that stop became yellow. If I select that text, only that becomes blue. But if I click 5 times, see, I always go one too many. That is, or select all, that's including the overset text. So now changing this to yellow, which will be hard to see, but you know, it still works. Then yes, now I go back to my selection tool and open up and all my text has gone yellow. I'm gonna go in. So basically when you want to deal with everything, you have to select all. Let me go back to a color that we can see. And I'm gonna now make it much smaller, so really, really small, so it all fits inside. And this is the entire set of all my text. I made it 6 points. It fits inside that teeny little beginning box on page 1 because I made it so small, but this is still there and it's still threaded because I had done it before. I had that thread going, okay? So if I were to now make this bigger, Command A, and make this, I don't know, 18 points, it all still flows in because I already had it ready to go. So as long as I have the frame ready to go, it keeps flowing. Even if this continues on page 72 or whatever it might be, it keeps flowing. All right. I've done a lot of back and forth on showing you how to change things individually in boxes. And if all is good, give me a yes. And now we're gonna continue with a different kind of mode. The same idea, but more other stuff. Not more other stuff, but other stuff. All right, no questions? All working? Julie, how's it going? Alyssa? I don't know what that meant. Julie, yes, no, maybe? Do you want to just tell me what's up or want to share your screen for a second? 'Cause I'm
No,
gonna move on.
It's okay. You're just moving awfully fast. Your mouse moves really fast and it's really hard to watch. So but I think I've got
Okay. Yeah, so let me be clear. Right now, it was more of a packaging it all in one, a little bit of a review of what we did. So I'm going fast. I'm not expecting you guys to follow each step, this portion that I'm doing right now. I was just showing you variations on a theme of how to select everything. But yeah, I agree. I was just going fast, but nothing is different than what I did at the beginning, which is basically boxes thread each other. If you want text to continue, you pick up, you make another box. The only thing that's new is that if you want to change the text of all 3 together, then you needed to select all your text by being in your type tool, selecting all, and then make your changes to everything. So that's the only new thing that I just showed, and now everything got smaller, okay? So as long as you got that, then awesome. I was then showing like versions and variations and stuff like that, but that's the base, that's the gist of what I was saying, which is kind of where we ended up at the before the break. Now, let me go ahead and go into, now we're all going to go into page, leave all of that in page 2. If you have something in page 2 that was threaded, because at some point I made you guys pick up from here and thread, just delete that box so that page 2 and 3 are empty. Okay. Delete anything that's here. You won't be deleting that. Oh, that's what's important, by the way. Let me just say that if I were to have, if this is something that let me just say that. If I had, let me make this big again so that I have text to thread. If I had picked this up and as you told you guys, go put something in page 2, right? If I delete this box, I'm not deleting that text. I'm just making all that text flow back into this one as overset text, okay? If I were to delete the whole thing, I'm losing everything. But if I'm just deleting the threaded boxes like this one, and I'm saying select and hit your delete key to delete it, that's okay. The text is still there. I've not deleted the text, okay? Just wanted to remind you of that because yeah, it's kind of like, what do you mean delete all the text? Where does it go? It kind of goes back and it sits here in the overset text mode. All right. So if you have anything on page 2, clear it out, 2 and 3, and it'll go and sit itself back in there. And now let's zoom in a little bit into pages 2 and 3. Okay.
Diana,
Yes.
quick question.
Mhm.
Because my screen is split half and half with you and my screen, I'm not showing both of the pages side by side. So how do I get to there?
It's not a matter of
Oh,
split
never
screen or
mind.
not. It's a matter of whether your faces are facing pages. Are they facing pages? Because
Yeah,
if they're
yes,
not,
yes, they are.
okay, because if they're not facing pages, you would be seeing them as individuals. See that? One page each.
Yeah.
So they
no,
have to be
I see that.
facing pages to show you the spreads. And then, yeah, it might be that you're only seeing that or that, and you need to kind of scroll from one to the next or make it a little bit smaller. Okay. Did that work now?
Now I see all of them and it's stacked, kind of.
Okay, so let me see your screen to see what's happening. And then this is navigation amongst the pages important. Okay, so you're seeing all of them. Oh, because you're commanded 0 all the way out. So you're looking at from afar, which is great. Now you can zoom in by doing command plus or control, what are you in PC, control plus, and you can zoom in. So say control plus 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 to zoom in.
Oh, that's as far as I could get.
No, go ahead and select again. You were probably on Zoom or something. Click in the document. Yeah, click one of those boxes just so that it's easier. One of those text boxes. Those are not boxes, those are pages. Yeah. And now hold down your control key and then tap the plus sign a few times with the control key in there. There we go. Okay, you're zooming in. Keep going,
Okay.
zoom in much closer. Keep going, keep going. And then to see out again, then do control again and minus, minus, minus so that you can see there. And now just scroll down to the page 2. Okay, and then you can scroll sideways. And there you are. You can now put things in page 2. Did that work?
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Cool. Let me clear your feedback. You guys see how important it is to just lose your fear of asking and ask, because it's hard to move forward if I'm showing you something new and you're still working on navigation, right? So please do check in when something doesn't seem to be working. All right, so I'm on page 2. And if you're not sure, look down here at the very bottom and see it says page 2, because if you think you're on page 2 but you're on page 3, you need by on this side of it, or you're on page 7. So that's another way. Just click here, and then you don't have to scroll down and scroll sideways. Just choose page 2 and it'll take you to page 2. All right. Now we're going to start by doing the exact same thing we did before. We're going to make a really big box, a text frame. My cursor automatically appears in there. Right click, fill with placeholder text. So same as what we did at the beginning. Then let's switch to our selection tool. Remember, once you're done with any of these tools, you always go back to V or selection tool. It's kind of like the home tool. You're done, you put in the text, back to V. Okay, we handle, unless you specifically want to edit a particular piece of text, then we're going to handle it from that mode. All right. Now let's do this again. And it's just one more thing about threading. Let's go ahead and make this box smaller. Pretty small, like let's leave it up there. Now I'm going to go over to my frames. And I'm going to click and hold the frames. Remember, the one that has the X is the frame that can hold text or imagery. I'm going to click and hold, and let me take an ellipse framing tool. So now when I click and drag, I'm going to get a circle that also has an X, because again, it's a frame. I'm going to make it biggish. It's an oval. Okay, if I hold on my shift key, it's a perfect, it becomes a circle, right? When I first make it, now I have to guess at the circle. Anyway, I just have a big shape now. Anyway, I'm gonna go with oval. Actually, I'm gonna go with oval in this mode because I want a bit more space left. Okay, so I have a frame, doesn't matter what shape you make it, an ellipse of some kind. If I were to now place a photo, that photo would be framed in the mark. And again, this, I'm trying to teach you text today, but just so you guys can see that this is both frame and text and image. I'm going to do the Command D for placing. Again, I'm going to go find an image and I'm going to say, okay. And yeah, I just framed it in a circle. Okay. That is a mask. Okay. Now instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go click on the plus sign for offset text, overset text, sorry, not offset, overset text. Now I'm going to go in here. My mouse here has like a square edge angle right now because of my arrow. Look at when I put it in this frame, see how I get like a big parentheses? It goes from two little square lines, corners, to two little parentheses. And when I click, that text now flows into there, just like it did before, but it's respecting that shape. Remember the preview was the W, and then that's kind of what we just did. Did that work for you guys? Give me a yes, a green yes. So it's kind of interesting because I have the same three shapes here as shapes as I have here in my frames. And any of those would still take the shape. I'm gonna go polygon, right? Make a little polygon there. Go back, pick up the overset text.
Oh,
And then, what's that?
oh, sorry.
And then I'm gonna drop it into there. All right, so, and so on and so forth, right? I can go back and put it in another shape. I can do whatever I want, but there we go. It's working. Is that good? Julie, I think I saw a little shake of the head.
It just takes me a little bit longer to figure out like the autofill where that was. And by the time I get
Mhm.
there, then you've already moved
That's
to the
fine.
next step. So it's just me.
All
But
right,
I
so how
got
about,
I got it.
I hear you, Julie, but here's the thing. When you see me move on, just go, hey, give me a sec, can you catch up? Like, tell me, because I'm happy to follow the speed of the class, but unless I ask each time to give me a yes, I wouldn't know you're behind. So it's very simple to go, hold on, can you repeat that? Give me a sec, I'm there. I am very happy to accommodate. So all I did was pick up overset text, that's it, right? But then if I drop it, in this case, I can only make another rectangle, and then that text comes in as a rectangle. But if I first had made a frame with a different shape, and over here where I have my frames and the tools, the two rectangle looking things, one is a frame with an X, one is a shape. There's other two rectangles here that are gradients, so don't go that far. Just the one that has a big X over it. That's the one that gives me the frames. But if I click and hold down, I have different shapes of frames. So I went to a different shape of a frame. Okay, drew my frame first. Then once you have that frame, you don't have the text in it. So you have to go pick it up the text. And we always pick up text with our black selection tool, always. So I go pick up the last place I see an overset text. And now I put my mouse inside of it and click, and it's going to drop in inside of it. If that worked, give me a yes. If not, please share your screen. It's the last little text thread thing that we're going to do, and then we're going to move on to something else. So I want to make sure it's working. So Julie,
So for
or
me,
did I-
somehow it's Monica. For
Okay.
me, somehow those thread marks don't show up.
Yeah, so head over to view, extras,
View,
And
Okay,
over here, it should say show text threads. Mine says hide because I'm seeing them, but yours, if you don't see them, it should say show text threads.
Extras. Oh, there we go. Excellent.
And it's
They're
really,
there.
yeah, it's,
Thank you.
when you have threaded text, you should turn that on because otherwise it's hard to know what continues. You know, where does this go? In fact, watch, if I were to do this right now, because I'm redesigning things and I don't notice and I do that, I wouldn't know that something's wrong if this is in Latin or in German or in something that I don't speak. But if I were to go to my view extras and show text threads, I'd go, ooh, uh-oh, something's wrong here. This is following there and this is following there, right? So I'm like, oh, I messed up, so I can move them around. Again, this is just extra. It's okay if you don't do it. It's kind of showing you possible problems or reasons why. Just moving the wrong box in front. When you know what it says, it would be rare for you to do this because you're following through the text and you understand it, but we don't understand Latin. And this is equivalent to having like a highly technical text for a brochure, you know, that you have no idea what it really means, or a different language. Then you need to, or someone's book, and you didn't write the book, right? And it's just text that you understand, but do you know if this chapter came from that chapter, right? So it's really good to see the frames once you have overset text. Yes, Deirdre?
Yeah, sorry, I must have done something because I've lost my sidebars. Is there a way I can get that?
First of all, the first thing you should always try maybe is the letter F key. So when you click the F key, you might recover something that way. I'm not sure it works. Sometimes it doesn't. And if not, oh, I dropped my share thinking that you were going to share, but let me just show you myself without.
I'm happy to do a screen share.
Yeah, but this is a quickie, so I can
Okay.
you'll fix it without needing to share. Go up to when you lose that kind of stuff, you always have the top menus. Go to window, and I have to on the Mac I can't share it. Go to window, and then go to your workspace, and then reset your workspace. And then whichever workspace you were in, if you were in, you know, if you were in essentials, reset essentials. So whatever you're in will show up here, reset it, and you should be getting all your tools back. Did that work?
Just give me a second here.
Yeah.
Window, workspace.
Window,
and
workspace,
reset.
and then go down to reset.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, that's fine. So you guys, sometimes for many different ways or reasons, things just disappear, and it could have been a shortcut that she activated by mistake, and we don't know what, but it can happen. In fact, kind of like when you see the W, you suddenly see the different changes in preview and not preview. There's another one, and I'm not sure which one it is, that makes you lose all your toolbars. I'm not sure which one it is right now, so I didn't know how to tell her to get out of it. So I just said, well, just go and reset your workspace, and boom, it all pops back in. Okay, so remember that one. That's another good reason to know about the workspaces. When you lose all your stuff and you go, oh, that way. Another thing that can happen, the other shortcut that you need to know is sometimes you're kind of lost and you're like, oh, I lost everything. You didn't lose everything. In fact, if you were to go to pages, you'll see that it's not lost, but you're in the pasteboard. So remember, Control or Command 0, which means fit in page, kind of brings you back. Or if you don't remember the shortcuts, then you can go to View, and then you can say zoom in or zoom out, or fit spread in window, or fit page in window, and stuff like that, and it brings it back. So this is that shortcut, right? Command or Control 0, that's fit page in window. So it's always there, and I can't show you up there because my Mac doesn't share that top menu, but it's always up in the view. Anything that's up with the view, you can look over here, and you would find the way to see something again. Okay. All right. Cool. Is everyone okay to move on from this example?
Yes.
All right. Good. So let's let's head over here and let's make a new text box. And actually, let's not make a new text box. Now I want some text that means something. Let me, oh, my template has text that doesn't mean anything either. I had a template that I wanted you to open. I have another one. Let's go to Bridge. I have a template in here that I want us to open, but since it's a template, the text is in this format, and it has some words that make sense. So go to the format, go to the folder called Missing Files and Replace Fonts. We opened this at the very beginning, our first day. Open it up, and you have this interior design bifold brochure. Double click on that, and you're going to get this message. And now when you're here, I'll keep going. I want to explain to you what this message is, which before you didn't know what it was. Now you might be able to understand what it means after all the stuff that we've done. So remember, Bridge, and inside of all our class files, there's 2 folders. So one of the folders is called missing. It's called full brochure. It's got missing text. What's it called? Missing files and replace fonts. That folder, you double click on it, and then this is the INDD document that I want you to open. And once you try to open it, it'll say this document has 2 links to the sources that are missing. So now you understand what that means, right? That means that there's images in here like we did before that are linked, but this doc, you know, the computer doesn't know where to find those. That's all it means. And let me go back to Bridge. Just so you know, the links are, because this is a kind of a folder that contains both. It contains the InDesign, and in here, if I go into image and double click, here are the 2 links. You know it because I'm showing that to you, but the computer doesn't know it. So it just tells me there are 2 missing links. And then it says you can find or relink them using the links panel. Okay, so this is kind of the work we were doing the other day. The links that were there or not there. So we'll say, okay, thank you for that information. And then it goes to the missing fonts. And again, I think the first time we opened this, I told you just kind of say, okay, and let's not spend too much time on that. But we're talking about fonts today. That's fine. Great. Thank you, Deirdre. So over here, it's telling me that it's missing a font. Do you guys have other fonts that are missing? I think last time you said that you had more than one font missing. Yeah, because at some point I already downloaded some of these fonts and you didn't. So if it says download from Adobe Fonts or existing in Adobe Fonts or something else, does it say something like that for you guys?
Mine says available from Adobe Fonts, and
There
the
we
other
go.
one is substitute with default font.
Great. So it's 2 different things. And since I've already enabled them myself, mine aren't showing, but over here to the ones that say activate with available in Adobe Fonts or something like that, you can select them and then say enable Adobe Fonts. And what the computer is going to do is going to open up your Adobe Fonts, which you're paying for because you're part of the subscription, and it's going to enable them, and then they'll disappear like me, which means those fonts will have downloaded and will be active on your computer. Okay. And then you'll be left with this one, like me. So go ahead and do that. I can't demonstrate that because I have them. I should have disabled them, but I didn't. But I can go, I'll show you later how to disable them so it shows up again. But is this working now? Did you enable? You're down to just this one now?
Yeah, but it's taken the time to download it.
Yeah, yeah. It'll, in the background, it'll be happening, so we're fine. But then it doesn't find this one. Adobe Fonts doesn't have this one. And yeah, Adobe Fonts doesn't have all the fonts in the world. This was a template made by someone who owned this font. And guess what? Since it's a copyrighted item, if we don't have it from Adobe, and unless we've paid for it in some other service, we don't have it, we can't use it. So we need to substitute it. And by default, it's telling me it already did substitute it with a default font. And the default font is usually Myriad Pro, I believe is the one that's the default font. If I don't want that one, I can replace it with another one. I can say, no, I don't want Myriad, replace my font because that wouldn't work at all. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say, I really want to replace that one with something else. I can find it and change it. I'm not going to do that right? I'm gonna just say, no, that's okay. I don't want to change it. Let's just be. So I'm gonna hit escape and we're going in and I'm not replacing that font. I'm letting it be with my updated fonts from Adobe and the replaced font that's going into a basic font. I'm gonna head over here to my characters and it's showing me that it's got, I don't know, depending on what you're selecting, what it says. I'm gonna select this one and it's telling me that is Alair and Alair Bold. Well, we didn't have that one. Remember, that's the one that was missing. So in fact, that's probably not, unless I downloaded it from some other place. No, Alair regular, which one was it that it, no, regular is the one that they don't have. So when I try to put in regular, because it's between parentheses, I think this is the one that shows that they don't have. I think we only have Alair Bold or something like that. Yeah, I think they said that the one that they didn't, let me open it again to remember. I'm sorry. I think it was Alair regular that it didn't have. Let me hit over here.
Mariana?
Yeah,
Question.
Alair regular. Alair regular is the one that have, but we do have, or at least I have Alair Bold. So, yeah. Question? I just wanted to see the name of it. So,
I do have a question. Where's that
Yeah.
pre-flight panel that you've got open?
way down, I don't have a pre-flight panel. This is just my characters.
No,
Okay.
no, I see a pre-flight that shows your layers maybe, or it says pre-flight text, links, 51 errors.
Okay, so way down at the bottom, maybe you left your pre-flight open. Way down here where it says 24 errors, if I click on this arrow and click up the pre-flight panel, this is the one that shows all the errors. Is this the one you mean?
Yeah,
You
that's
probably
it.
left it open from before. I had closed it, but that's where it is. The pre-flight you pick up from here. Otherwise, usually Windows, pre-flight, can we open it from here? Oh, I guess the pre-flight panel is one that, since it's always available, it doesn't show up under Windows because it's always available here. Click on this little
Okay.
arrow and open the pre-flight panel. So
Okay,
if you leave it open there, if you were to want it all the time on, you can dock it in there as we did other stuff, but I'm gonna leave this one for only when I need to check. And so it's telling me that there's 2 links that are missing and 22 situations where it's missing the font Alair regular. So if I want to see of all these fonts, which one is Alair regular, because it's the one that's missing, right? I can go in here and have it show me like what all this. And so it says there's some in page 1, page 2, page 3, and page 4. There's Alair regular everywhere. So I'm going to say, well, show me the first one. Double click and it goes, oh, basically the font of my entire document, the main font of my document is missing. It's not there. So I'm gonna have to do something about that Alair regular. Does it make sense?
Mhm.
By not having replaced it, now I have 22 instances that I have to replace one by one by one. Yeah, because it shows up here, it shows up here. I think last time someone had, this was pink background. Is it pink background to anyone? Yeah, in the past, when I had a document, when documents, I don't know why it's not doing it. When you have a document that you don't have the fonts for, let me really quickly show you the other folder that I have. If you follow through, that's fine, but I don't necessarily want you to do this right now. I'm going to go to Newsletter Begin. It has sources that are missing. This is an example of, I don't know why the other one, I think because it's a template, it's not doing it, but this is an example of me opening a font. It's not that this thing has been designed with pink boxes behind the text. It just means that this is not the original font and the font has been substituted. And look at how many fonts here exist and how many fonts have been substituted. And so unless I say, okay, if I say skip and don't do that, right? So I'm not using that. Then basically my template shows up like that, telling me this font is not the original font. I think that this is a real document, and this is what happens when you have fonts that don't get documented. I think the other one, it's a downloaded template that I'm using for a sample. I think because it's set up as a template, it doesn't let you, it doesn't show up in pink. But do you guys have this big blue message here? This document contains type 1 fonts which are no longer supported. It could be that it came up with this done. Yeah. So basically, any document that is old had something called type 1 fonts, which about 2 years ago, I believe it's been 2 years, time gets warped with the COVID. Think about 2 years ago, Adobe stopped supporting it. So we've used type fonts for 20, 30 years, like since I began in the world of, there's PostScript fonts and there was type 1 fonts. They're so old now that Adobe said, no more. I'm not going to support those fonts anymore. There's better and new fonts. So if you open an old document that has a type 1 font, it just will show it as the font is missing. Even if your computer still has them because you bought them 20 years ago, Adobe will not show them to you, and it's telling you, please replace them because they can't promise that it's working or whatever. So some companies invested heavily into fonts, you know, for the last 20 years, and suddenly 2 years ago, they discovered that all their fonts that they've been paying for don't work anymore if they were type fonts, or if they've made a special font for their company. I worked for a design group where we had special fonts designed and made to imitate the script of the owner. I don't know if anyone, it's been so long, people don't really know them anymore, but anyone know someone called things made by Flavia? Yeah, she was really popular in the 90s when I was working for that company, and we had made a font handmade. She wrote a script, and a type designer designed a font that looked like her script. That was type 1 font. Every one of the documents now that keeps being printed, they keep printing greeting cards and stuff with hers, they've had to create a new font because it was a type 1 font. So if you ever see this, it's because it's an older document, using older fonts. In which case, go to type, find, and replace font, which is what we would have to do. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and close this box because I don't want to see it. And what it's telling me then, it's very easy to see that something's wrong. I don't like that in this one, this didn't go pink. I don't know how they did that. The maker of this thing is not making it go pink. This way, the way it's not good. So that's not good. But if I replace, this is all I wanted to tell you. If I replace this one instance, right, over here, and find a better font, whatever, say that this is a better font, I'm going really different, so it's obvious, then it doesn't replace that font everywhere. And I had 22 instances that I would have to go and replace the font 22 times. I'm going to undo that. So the way to do that is to go all the way up to type, find replace font, which is the same box we got at the very beginning. And then, since LR regular is what we don't have, I click on the missing font right there. And then I'll say replace with, and I can choose the font I want to replace with. And if I don't know, I have to kind of know my fonts, say that I replace it with something that doesn't work at all. If I do that, and I say find first, right, which is that one, and I'll say change, and then I'll look at it and I'll go, oh yeah, that kind of might work, might not work. Okay, how about do it in that one? And I say find first and then change. So then now, oh, it's changing the next one over there. But say that I like the Museo, what was the first one I had chosen? Museo Sans. If I decide that I like the Museo Sans, then I can just say change all. Boom. So now when I say done, my entire document, every instance of LR regular has been changed. And I used to have 22 errors, now I have 5. Now, if I chose a bad font that doesn't work, then I'd have to go change it again. But if I'm happy with that, then I go see what other errors I have. And now 2 of them will still be the links. And now it's just telling me there's overset text. Now, this wasn't happening before. There was no overset text before. How come I have overset text now? What do you think? Everything I'm showing you is the same for Illustrator, Photoshop. when I change the font, some fonts are bigger. So 12 points of Aller and 12 points of Museo Sans. Museo Sans is obviously a little bit bigger. So suddenly I have overset text that I didn't have before, but since I don't know which one it is, I'll have to double click and have it show me, and oh, there it is. See, in this font, in the old font that worked, but in this font it doesn't work. So maybe I have to grab and make it a little bit bigger so that I can see all that. So now that I've resolved that one, let me take me to the next one. Oh, let's see how I can't tell if there's missing text. So I'm gonna go do there. And then what's the last one? There you go. So I'm gonna make it bigger and I go do there. And now the only two errors left are the links, but I've kind of handled all my text. Does that make sense, you guys? I know, I'm not gonna save that at all. I'm gonna undo that save, don't save, and I'm gonna do it one more time slowly so that now people can follow. First, I tried to kind of explain it, and now I'm actually gonna have it, I'm gonna do it so that you guys can follow along. I'm gonna double click and open it again. Since I didn't save, I've got the same good old message that fonts are missing. I'm gonna skip till I get to where we were, that we have all of our missing fonts. And so now I'm gonna go back to type, find replace fonts, and I'm gonna start from here, as if we had not fixed anything. All right, if you got it and it all worked, let me just clear your answers, clear your feedback. If you got it and all worked, then go ahead and give me an okay. If not, I'm doing it one more time. But if you're behind this, like you're not even here, then let me say done, and I'll bring you here again. So I basically just opened it all over again. So I'm starting from 0. I have not fixed anything. I still have my same 24 errors. Yes, Moni?
Just wanted to check, I'm not finding the pre-flight. Where do you find
Okay.
that again?
Down where I see the errors, way down here.
Oh, okay,
24
mine
errors.
says no errors. Okay, yeah.
Oh, because you fixed them.
Okay, now I
Still,
see.
even
pre-flight.
if it says no errors, you can still click on the arrow and open the free flight panel.
Got
And
it.
yours would just say no errors because you've handled them.
Okay,
Okay,
perfect.
but
Thank
the
you.
pre-flight panel you can open. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So so now I'm gonna go once again to the replace. I'm gonna go to the type, find replace font. This I discover, oh, it's this one, right? So if I don't know which one it is, I'm like, well, what is it? I don't know. Someone gave me this document. Where is that one showing up? I can say find first. And that's where it shows me, oh, okay, that's the one, right? So then I'm gonna say, I already clicked away from it. So find next, and I don't know if you can tell, but it highlighted that little bit. If I say find next, it's highlighting that little bit, find next. So basically it's showing you each of the instances in which, so it's highlighting that. I'm gonna say find next there. So basically it's everywhere. See that? So now I'm like, okay, I discovered which one it is. Okay, that's it. It's basically everywhere. So that's what the find next helps us, because sometimes we don't know where it is. So what I'm going to do next then is I'm going to change it with, not in this instance, but right now I'm going to change all. I could change as one, but I'm going to change all. So I'm going to go find a different font, replace with, and I'll choose a font. And I had happened on Museo Sans. I could have done anything that would have been completely I don't know what Mrs. Eves is, and just to test it to see if it works, I could say change that one, right? And I have to zoom in to see what I did, and whoa, that certainly would not work, right? Ew, that's a bad idea. I can't write in that, so I'll keep trying. How about what's Mishtakan? And I say change that one. Oh, I guess you can only do it one time. Oh, this is the one now that I need to change. Okay, so I brought that one in that I didn't want. So basically, you ideally test your fonts, know what you want, and then I'm going to go ahead and say, I think I had chosen Museo Sans, which I liked. So now I'm going to change all the instances of Aller regular, change all. But since I had changed this into Museo fonts, I basically need to select the all Roman that I brought in because I was clicking around. And I'm going to turn that also into Museo fonts, and I'm going to say change also, then that one changed. And now everything is working. Now it's kind of thin. I'm not sure that this would be a good font, the Museo fonts, but we're just changing it to something. And I'm going to say done. We haven't talked about styles yet, but if my style was calling out for LR regular, then I want to change my styles too. But since I haven't talked about styles yet, I can't really tell you much about it. But if I wanted my font, my default body font now to be always Museo Sans, I would click on that so that there's no question that now this is the body font. Body font meaning most of the text is written in it. But if I don't click on that, the next time I make a text font, it'll come out as Museo, it is LR regular again. So anyway, this is a good thing to have clicked. But I'm going to say change all, done. And by now, I should have no more instances. If I check on my pre-flight panel, I should have no more instances of missing font. But what happened is now that I have my overset text, because this font is bigger comparatively than the one that was missing. So I went to each one of the mistakes, found the little overset text mark, because it told me it's overset text. I didn't guess, it told me that's the mistake. Pre-flight panel tells you what the mistake is, overset text. So I went there and made the box a little bigger to make it fit. Then that did that again. So you might have chosen a font that wasn't bigger, so you didn't have this second problem, but I did. Now I've handled it. Okay. And the links there I can correct from here, or just to remind you where we did links, what it's saying is that this photo and this photo, which are my two links, let me go down a bit, it can't find. So see, it's going, where are they? Where are they? So I'm going to stop there and first make sure that we all have managed to change our font, which only happens if you have to work with someone else's. Like if you created one your own, you wouldn't have had to do that. But yeah, if you open documents many times, you have to change fonts because your computer doesn't have them. So are we good with that? With changing fonts, you guys? I'm seeing yeses. Alyssa, I don't see you, so hopefully it's a yes. Everyone else, I'm seeing you nodding. Okay, so now how do I fix this? Basically, if I had selected the link, it would tell me that it was missing. But if I'm here, I can just click on this, this little question mark, right? Double click. And it tells me where to go, right? And since I go into where my files are, I look at the folder, in this case, missing files, I double click on it and there's my images, I double click, I open it up and there it is. And I don't remember the name of this one because they were both so similar. So let me hover, I can hover over that and it tells me the file that it's looking for. It's looking for the one, see, I'm just putting my, when I say hover, I just hold my mouse over it right there and it will tell me that it's looking for 284883, which is this one. There we go. That's the one it's looking for. 284883. So then I'll say, okay, open. And then it goes, oh, I also found, you know, another one. Do you want to relink it from there? I'll say, okay. And it found both because it kind of went, aha, that's where you are. So if I had 20 in there, it would have gone, oh, thank you. That's where they all are. And it found the rest. I only fixed one. And it said, oh, found the links in the same source. And I said, okay. So there you go. Both have been fixed at once. So now the computer knows where these links are. And down here, it should say green, no errors. If I open my pre-flight panel, it should have no errors. Okay. If you have no errors and you have managed to link and recreate this whole thing, then, and by the way, this I was in W mode, so I wasn't seeing all the stuff. So it's a bit complicated to see things there. The W is what helps me go between here and here. I just wanted to show you that in this document, the photos have been set correctly in the sense that that's the bleed. and so is the yellow box. So that if the trimmer comes and cuts right there, hopefully all of this will drop down, but if there's any mistake, it'll still fit inside of it. No need over there because there's no color, but at any place that there's color, a bar or a photo, we need to go to the end. And this is an example of the photo spreading across the spread. So it'd be really weird here if I were to say, oh, get this box and drag it down there. It's a disaster, right? Because the photo is everywhere. So you don't willy-nilly move things around. I'm gonna undo that. When it was empty, we could do that. Or if things don't continue, then that works. But once they continue, this is also spread across. They didn't make 2 yellow boxes, they made 1 yellow box. So that would be confusing. All right. I'm showing you stuff, but I'm just pointing out things that we've talked about. But right now, all I've done is correct my errors. If you corrected your errors and you have no more errors on your document, you've linked your photos and you've updated your missing fonts and you've replaced the one that wasn't there, then give me a good old yes. If there's anything, your links from your photos are missing, or your fonts still are showing up in your errors, or your overset text showing in your errors, then give me a no. Right, so yes, if all is good. No, if there's still questions. Looking at the time, we're doing good. Julie, how's it going? I can't hear you.
I just sent a chat message that says the links don't seem to be there.
Okay, so then open the links panel if you have it there. Do you have this one there? Otherwise, go up to window and choose your links panel so that it pops open. And you'll see a big old question mark there.
Mhm.
Mine I've already resolved, so the link isn't missing, but double click the question mark and it'll open up your Finder window and you'll have to go find them. If you want to share, if that didn't help, share your screen, because since mine is already resolved, I can't demo that. I can stop my share and have you share yours and I can show you that.
It looks like somebody else is sharing their screen. It says can't share my screen while other parts.
Yeah, because you started before I stopped mine, so start again. Sorry. I was slow in stopping mine. And we can only share one at a time. Okay. Looks like the missing links are there. Like your error says missing links too, right? The pre-flight panel. So go look at your links panel, which you have them on the right side. Yeah, there it is. And there's your big old red question mark. Go to the right. So double click on that question mark. And now it's taking you to your Windows Explorer and it's saying, well, find them. And if you have them, that's good. So now, where do you find them? Wherever you have the class files. So did you put them in your downloads folder? Where do you have the class files? Did you move them? Yeah, there it is, perfect. So now go into the missing files and replace fonts folder, double click, go into the image folder. There they are. And it's looking for it's looking for the second one, the 284. You read on top and it says locate users, and it's that one. So then you say open. Yep. And then it goes, oh, I found more in here, right? So you say, okay, sure, yeah, click on them all. And then that's it. So it resolved 2 in 1 because it found the other one there. If the other one hadn't been there, it would have continued saying, okay, well, where's the next one? And where's the next one? And where's the next one? But it did it. So cool. Stop your share.
Okay, thank you.
Monica, your hand, you said no?
Yes. Let me share.
Of course.
Share. Okay, I
All right,
still have one error. I found it. And I think it's something that I changed earlier with fonts, but yeah.
Okay, so hold on. Go up and choose your selection tool instead of your type tool because you're in that black box. There we go. Now go to where it says that there's a missing font 1 character and double click on the little 1. So it takes you straight to where it is. So the little number 1 on the,
Yeah,
go
I
to the
clicked
right,
it.
go
Oh,
to the
to the
right,
right.
that little, and double click, yeah. Just click on that.
I did.
No, now you're gonna click on it, double click.
Okay.
Or single click, I'm not sure. Oh, and it's getting you,
Shut it
okay,
off.
so it's taking you, it's putting you inside that black
Right,
box.
right.
Yeah, so that black box, yeah, I don't know what it is that you did, but you changed it into a kind of font that, there's all these fonts that are like Japanese style fonts or
Right,
Cyrillic
right,
fonts or
right. It
stuff that we
was-
can't
yeah,
read.
mhm.
So they show up, you see you guys, how
Mhm, the
all of
little
her Park
boxes.
Avenue 2013 is
Okay.
like boxes.
Yeah.
So now select all that text. You can do since you're in that box, you can do a Command A.
Nope,
Tap it, select whatever's in there.
I
Oh,
did
it's
a
a different
Command A.
box.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it
it's a
must be
box.
this.
Oh, it's the black box that it thinks has text in it. Okay.
Okay, now I changed the
No,
whole
because you also
thing.
got, no, because you already got, no, because you
Okay.
got the get in touch. So don't do that. You have the get in
Okay.
touch too. So select that one. They're
And
separate.
do I do shift to select that one as well, or?
Yeah.
Okay,
So now when you go to your fonts, it says Noto Sans Cypriot. I don't know. We call it in Spanish, we say Cypriot. We say Cypriot. I don't know how you say it in English.
so wait,
So go over to the,
wait,
yeah,
where
but
do
go
you
to the,
see that?
go to your
Oh,
fonts, go
it's-
down, down, down where
yeah.
it says character.
Okay, that one was,
Character.
it was
There.
covered by the chat box.
The
That's why I
chat, yeah.
didn't see it.
So see, it's showing you a
Yes,
font that's
yes.
not gonna give you fonts. So go and find one. All these Notos
Yeah,
are,
I did
yeah, so go
Avenue for all of
to a
them.
regular one. Okay, so
There we
go
go.
find Park Avenue and there we go. So
Okay.
those little boxes, wasn't that she lost her text? See how when she changed it into
Mhm.
something that works, the text was there? Is just warning you. Now, the error hasn't disappeared because you put something in that black box. You put some text in the black box. That's the error. Before, the other wasn't showing up as an error. It was just a font that you couldn't see, but it wasn't an error. So the error you have there is still the black box that had the cursor. So go back to the cursor, to the black box, and click into into the black box that's behind it. Get in touch box. Yeah, click in there. Now choose your type font. And that one, if you look now at your character, it's okay. You don't need to go to the type font. That's okay. Go to the character and it says irregular. Irregular is the one that.
Okay,
go
where
to the
do I
right.
see that? Where am I supposed to see that?
Character.
like I'm
down where
telling-
you, wait. When
There,
you
yes.
found the Creek Cypriot, yeah,
I
I was
have
trying to
it
say the
here.
same place where you find there. That's where you find it because anything you're
Okay.
clicking on, it shows you what font it's in. Okay.
Okay.
So now click on that one and turn it back into the one that you chose, which was Avenir next. Good. Perfect. Now you've handled those errors. See how your pre-flight now says there's only 2 errors, which are now the missing links. Your preflight planner is already open. Now if
Okay.
you do that, you're gonna close it. Right?
So
it
that's
says
weird.
missing
I thought-
links.
It's weird. I thought I had linked them already.
Maybe you
Okay.
went back and started again. So now if you go to double click, it'll show you which one it is. But you can't fix it from here. You have to go to the links panel to fix it. So
Okay.
go to your links panel, double click on the question mark. And then I think it's the second one it wants.
That one. Okay.
Yeah, that one, and say okay. And it goes, ooh, I searched it and I found more. Do you want that one too? Yep. And there you
Okay.
go. Now no errors. See, already it
Okay,
found it.
Yes.
See how
Okay.
there's no question mark on that
Mhm,
one? Now?
mhm.
It found it. Cool.
Okay. Thank you.
And now you have no errors. Awesome. All right. I'm going to stop your shares and share again. For those of you who this is interesting, but it's almost like, okay, it's too much InDesign for me. Because it's your first introduction to InDesign and we're getting into all this technical stuff. Next session in spring, I'm teaching 2 classes. One's called producing a digital magazine and the other is called producing a digital newsletter. And in those, we'll do more work here so that by the time you've worked once or twice on InDesign, all of this will begin to be much more like, oh, okay, I got it. Like the first time you use any of these programs, it's kind of intense. But all of this that I'm showing you here, the linking, the fonts, every single thing I've just shown you today is identical for Illustrator or for Photoshop, which is the cool thing, right? If I go to Illustrator and if there were something missing here that I don't have, I would go to the window and pull up my links panel. Now I'm in Illustrator, go to my links panel. I don't have links in this document, but there it is. Let me see, do I have links in this document? There it is. Now it's showing me the link. It's showing me where it lives. Okay. I can update it. If it was missing, it would have a question mark. So everything we just did, I'm showing it in properties panel, so it looks different, but it's the same. You would link it, you would bring it in, you would do it. Now in Photoshop, for the most part, we don't tend to have linked elements because in Photoshop, we tend to have just stuff photos that exist. But in this case, in Photoshop, I did bring some linked elements, and you don't have this. I just set this up to show you. But this is an example of Photoshop that does have linked elements from my library. So I wanted to show you the libraries. But if I go over here in Photoshop, I don't have the links panel. See that? Because in Photoshop, instead of calling them links, instead of that, we don't like look at this information for links, we would go, I believe it's in properties that you would find. There it is, under properties. There's when it tells you you have links or not links, or edit the contents or embed to layer. So this is the equivalent, and the properties panel is equivalent to the links panel in Illustrator and InDesign. But as I said, InDesign and Illustrator are almost identical. So everything you're learning right now works for both. The only thing that doesn't work for both is that we don't have multiple page documents in InDesign, in Illustrator, sorry. But other than that, it's all the same. All right. So I'm looking at the things I wanted to show you today. And I'm going to leave colors and libraries and all of that for next week. So let me continue with just fonts, formatting, and styles. And then not next week, next class. Because we're so inside of fonts and links and like that. Let's continue with that. So I'm going to remember, hit the W if you want to see it cleaner, and the W again to see all the guides and lines and all that, which we need for working, but it's kind of hard to do this when you're seeing if it looks good. Okay, so remember it. W or W. Okay, so for now, since I want to look at my fonts a little bit, I'm going to use it in this mode. And I'm going to click on here, let's just do interior design. That one is bigger. Let's work with interior design. Select interior design. I'm going to do Command plus, so I see it a bit bigger. Here we go. So everyone select interior design, zoom in, and because I'm selecting a box that has text on my properties panel, I should see the character. Remember, the properties panel is contextual. It shows you only that which you need, and what you need is based on what you select, right? So if you don't have this interior design selected, you wouldn't see it. So you need to select it. Then we have all the stuff that works with text. And then down here, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to change. I'm going to scroll down a little bit to see the character a little bit better, to show it to you a little bit better. It tells me that this font is Aller Bold, whatever it's called, Aller Bold, right? And it's 60 points. But then there's other metrics and numbers here that we're going to explore. But most importantly, I'm going to go over here to where it says text style. Not most importantly, but I wanted to introduce you to text styles. And it's showing me that this is main title, right? Main title style. Just bear with me. We're not going to change anything. Now let's click on this little line right there. And this is also Aller Bold, but it's 24 points. And when I go up here to text style, it tells me that this is the subtitle. So whoever designed this has decided that if I want a font to look like my subtitle, I could choose this style. How about this one? Let's click on this interiordesign.com. Again, it's now this is Museo Sans because this is the one that I changed. So it'll be whatever font you chose. 12 points. And I go over here and it's telling me that this is website, but it has a little plus sign, website plus. What that means is that it's been changed. And remember, this is the one that used to be a regular that we changed. So if it has a little plus sign, that means that it's been changed from the original, that little plus. So you could update it or not right now. We're not going to do that. Okay, so what does this mean? What's the whole point of all this, these three that I just pointed out to you? Well, what if I want to make something else? I'm going to go to page 2 and I'm going to click on this one. And this one tells me that it's title inside. Okay, what if I wanted this one to look like the main title? If I don't have tiles set up, I would have to go in here. I would have to look at this and I go, oh, it's Hilaire Bold 6072. I'd have to go down here and I'd go ahead and change this to Hilaire Bold 72. But since I had set a style, I don't need to do that. I can just go over here to text styles. Okay, I'm selecting the one that I want to be just like my main title. I go to my paragraph styles. I go to this arrow and I scroll up and down until I find the one that's the main title. And let's just, I prefer having the big box for them instead of this one that I scroll up and down because I need to find it. Product name, subsection, OPQRST. Ugh, I can't seem. Where's the main title? Maybe it's cover and back. There it is, main title. So I had to open this folder called cover and back. This has a ton of setups because it's a template, it's a professional template. So under cover and back, there's main title. So I just click on that and this turned into main title. But do I see it? What happened? Can anyone guess at what happened before I tell you what happened? You can look at my screen.
Is it paper color?
No, good guess, but nope, that's not it.
It was.
Oh,
Actually,
today.
that is it. Sorry, that is it. Because yes, see, it could be that that's that, but that's not the main thing. Yeah, someone else said it. Look at the
Overset.
overset text box.
Yeah.
Because that used to be 24 points and then I switched it to main title and it's not fitting. So let's make this box bigger, right? And there it is. It's got you get that there was some other word in here that's gone white. And since it's gone white, I can't, read it. I'm going to undo until I go back to the original. And that was what you get. Okay. And if I look at this, it was all white. So what happens is that the first word went white because that was the set of first word. And the second set maintained its original color. But the whole thing got to be 60 points. If I were to now select this and give it 60 points, the same thing would have happened. It would just go poof, disappear. And I'd have to go and open it up to begin to see it. But the color would have stayed because all I'm doing is changing the fonts. But when I changed the style, it went to the style that that I had applied. So let's see, this style is called text area plus. So if I select what you get and I go and choose text area, then this turned into that same font. It happens to be uppercase, but it is exactly that same font. It's Eller regular 12 points, which is what that was. Oh, but this has been changed because now it's not Eller. Now I have Museo Sans. That's because it has the plus sign. Okay. So basically when you're designing, and I don't know, have you guys ever used styles maybe in Word or in any other, tell me if you were familiar with the concept of styles, text styles from any other program in your life. I'm seeing Moni said yes. Amy said yes. So if you were already familiar with this concept, this is just showing you where to find it. Yay. But if you're not familiar with concepts, it's a little bit harder to wrap around your head around this. So we're going to go and do a little bit of ourselves so that we can understand it without having a document that has so many hundreds of types. So let's go back to the type practice one. the one where we were playing around with stuff. Let's make a text box. And this time, instead of filling it with placeholder text, we're going to call this one sample. And I'm going to write in upper and lowercase, I'm going to write sample text for styles. And it'll come out whatever size my default setting for this document is. And my default basic paragraph setting, I have nothing set up. It's just that when I open a basic InDesign document, the basic style exists, and it's Minion Pro regular 12 points. And that's what's happening. It's coming out in that mode. And that's why we all have the very beginning the same way. Okay, so that's good. Now let's see if there's any other presets. That's what really this is. It's a preset, okay? To change this into something else instead of me individually changing all the stuff. Is there any other preset in the empty InDesign document that I open with nothing else? If I click over here, that's it. There's no other. Remember the other one had like 250 styles? This has nothing. So I need to create anything if I want something different. So let me go ahead and select this font here, and let's make this be, I don't care which. I'm going to make it be something completely clearly different. I'm going to go with this, which is so clearly different that there's no question that I've changed my style, right? Sample set for styles. And I'm going to make it be bigger, 17 points. That's weird. It looks all squished. Why is my black oak so squished? Okay, whatever. So say that I want this to be my style from now on for my headlines for this document, right? So I'm going to head over here to where it says text style basic paragraph, and I'm going to say I want to make a new style. And I get to call it whatever I want because I got it in highlight, and I'm going to call this one title. Okay. I hit return, and I have made myself a style. So now I have two styles in this document. I have the basic paragraph, and I click on it, and my thing goes and turns into that, or I have my title. So I can go over to anything here, and I can click, and I can say I want it to be title style. Oh, this is, yeah, I need to be in the font. When I get into these threaded ones, it gets a little bit complicated. Yes, I know, that's warning me that I have 15 minutes. Let's not deal with those because since it's threaded, I would have to select my text to make it, but let's just go right now with these basic boxes to make it easier to understand the concept. So I made that be sample text for styles. Now, sorry, I'm going to do this again. So if I lost you, I'm going to make another one. So it's okay if you didn't get that one. Now grab your box, change something important about it. In this case, I'm going to make it still sample text for style black oak, but I'm going to make it be very different, 36 points. So it's much bigger. I make it much bigger, and maybe I'll make it a bright pink. So now I changed the font size and the color. I'm like, okay, I want to freeze those choices so that I can come back to them quickly. So it's a preset. I want to be able to make something this really quickly. So I chose a color, a font. I left it black oak, but I made it a big font. And now I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to say new paragraph style, and I'm going to call this one huge headline, whatever. I'm going to call it whatever, just as a sample, and I'm going to hit return. So now in this document, I have 3 paragraph styles. I have the basic one, I have my title one, and I have my huge headline. So now I'm going to select this and I'm going to say, well, right now I want my title version for that. Or no, right now I want my basic paragraph for that. No, right now I want my huge headline. And it's remembering all the settings of what made it one or the other. Does that make sense, you guys? I am creating these styles. And as we design, we create all the styles that are going to be necessary for this document. So say that now this is going to be the document that I'm going to use for my regular trying to have ideas for my indents or something like that. I'm trying to do something very specific. Say my give me an idea. I'm drawing a blank for my subtitles. I haven't made subtitles. So I'm going to have my subtitles be a different font because for some reason I want to hold a different font. I'm going for something totally different. So you guys see, I'm choosing a different font. I'm going to go make my subtitles be smaller. And I'm going to make the text color be green. I'm going for something completely. None of this is making it pretty. It's making it visible for class. Prettiness you choose. You know what I'm trying to say? Good. So now that's the style that I'm going to select and make my last one, which is, we said this one was going to be my subtitles. Subtitles. Hit return. Great. I have all those selected. Okay, so now I've made them, right? So now I can go to, let's say the last page, we hadn't done anything in the last page. So I'm going to go to the last page. And even if you made only one, that's okay. If you made none and you need help making one, let's stop right there. I was forgetting to check in. If you didn't make a style and you need help making a style, and if you only have one, that's okay. If you, meaning you have the basic paragraph and you made one, that's okay. If you had 2 or 3, that's good. Give me a yes. If you didn't make a style and you're not very clear, give me a no. But basically all I'm doing is I'm setting up a set of choices and I'm freezing them in time by giving them a name called a style. You also have character styles, right? Now we're doing paragraph styles. Okay, so now let's grab in this empty page. I'm going to make a box and start writing. And I'm going to go, this is going to be my huge headline. And usually huge headlines wouldn't have so many words, but there we go. And because it's an empty box, it came out in basic paragraph style. Now I'm going to grab this box. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so that I have a chance to fit my different choices. And I'm going to copy this 2 or 3 times. I'm going to copy this. For those of you who know the shortcuts for copying from other types or classes, don't want to confuse you, but it's either copy paste, which is easy. There it comes again. Command C, Command V, or on all Adobe products, you hold down your Option or Alt and you click and drag, and there comes a copy. Okay. So this is easier because now I've got 3 just by holding down the Option. I have 3 different ones. Okay. I'm going to make 4 different ones. 5. I think I had 4 that I made, as many as you made, right? And then I'm going to go in there and I'm going to call this one, this is going to be my title. My title, this is going to be my, I think I made subtitle. Did I make anything else? Basic paragraph. I think those are all the ones that I had, I'm not sure. So my basic paragraph is already happening. Now I'm going to select my huge headline and I'm going to go say and make it huge headline. Then this one I'm selecting, this is going to be my title. And this one is going to be my subtitle. And this one is my basic paragraph, which it already was. And then that's it. I thought I had 4, but I got 5. So see how once you set up your styles, it's so quick to format a document because every time you have a headline, you assign it headline style. Every time you have body text, you assign it body text style. Every time you have a subheadline, you assign it headline style. So now if I go to this one, I'll begin to understand how come when I hit that, that's main title. When I hit that, that's subtitle. When I hit that, that's title inside. This one has bazillions. When I hit about company, that's title bold. When I get in touch. That's title info. This has almost too many styles. But if this is going to be a catalog of 20 pages, yeah, you want everything to be completely set up. This is the product name. These here are regular text in white. This one here is text area, et cetera, et cetera. And the basic text is always just basic text area, text area, text area. I think this probably is bullet, no, subsections. Okay, so if I want something to, if I want the subsection to change into main title, and I do that, it'll be, of course, impossible to see because main title is so big. But there you go. I have changed it into main title, which means it's white, which means I'm gonna put it in black so I can see it. And there we go. Now that's main title. That said, main title here has been written in uppercase and this one is upper lowercase. So it's not that it isn't the same. It's just that that one is uppercase, lowercase. That one you have to change. It doesn't switch cap. Well, it could, but this one didn't get registered to switch the caps. Okay, so I've made that little bullet point be the same. I had to change the color because otherwise it would be hard to make it work. So styles is ridiculously important and useful. And then there's similar to that, there's character styles, but in this document, there's none. So you can go even deeper. If you want to have, for example, not the whole paragraph, but say that every time you start a document, the first letter is drop cap, right? And a drop cap means you're going to make the first letter be huge, which let's make it be humongous or something like that. You know, those drop cap kind of things. Now this whole paragraph has the text area style, but that one letter, you want it to be that, then you would select that, you make a character style for drop cap, and then you would nest it anyway. So it gets more, you know, and then every time you do a paragraph, you select the first one and you call that one drop cap and so on and so forth. That isn't even drop cap, that's just first one big, you would have to make it move over. But that's an example of how all styles are used. That's exactly the same in Illustrator. And I am kind of curious to see if they have styles in Photoshop. Photoshop is the last place that got type tools that are of any import. Let me see. I am not sure because I have never used styles in Photoshop. So let me clarify. Let me get my character styles and paragraph styles. Yep, there we go. So this happens to have none. But if I were to say that this is the one that I'm just making, right? Then this paragraph style, I'm going to call it test, right? And so then this became test. So when I select this font right here, Lorem Ipsum, I'm going to just make it test. No, that's a different, oh, because Lorem Ipsum is, yeah, I have to be selecting my type. Yeah, Photoshop, I think you need to be always selecting your type. Oh, Lorem Ipsum was turned into my test. So let me go over here. It was both Lorem Ipsum, that's why it got confusing. Let me go into this one. Huh. I'd have to, I have not used paragraph styles in Photoshop, so it looks like it's not just selecting the layer and changing it. Let me try one more time. Let me change that character. Let me, I don't have my font tools or anything. Let me view my character tools. So let me make this one be that. And then I'm going to go into my paragraph styles and say number 2, you know, style 2. Okay, so that one should be that. I'm just trying to see if it works. Lorem Ipsum, can I choose it to be 2? No. And can I choose the text? And call this one yeah, there's something going on here. Yeah, I have some other stuff going on here because I was bringing in things from my libraries, which I haven't shown you yesterday, so it's compounding with the library issues. So I'll show you libraries next time and then we'll figure it out. So this is my demi task right there. That if I change into 2, it's not working. So maybe this needs character styles because it's not a paragraph. I'll have to look into Photoshop. So, but in Illustrator, it's the same as what I just showed you. Just Photoshop is different usually. And I rarely, if ever, layout type in Photoshop. So 3 more minutes. So the last thing I want to show you that's important is remember when Shelley, oh, she's gone. No, she's gone. When Shelley showed the thing where it says you have to outline your text. Over here, one of her 3, I think this one said you have to create outlines. Maybe it was the middle one. Anyway, one of these said that you needed to create outlines. Maybe it was the first one. Anyway, it said something like place text. I really want to show you which one I'm talking about. All fonts, oh here, use vectors for fonts. All fonts should be converted as vectors because they're wanting a JPEG. A JPEG would be something you'd be doing in Photoshop. So since this one wants a JPEG, if you have text in Photoshop, and so I'm just going to show you this really quickly, but you can do it in Illustrator, you can do it anywhere. Let me give you a clean file with basic text in it. So if I click in here and I have this Lorem Ipsum, whatever it might be, if I leave it like that and save this as a JPEG, that would get all pixelated. So we need to go to type and convert options. Let me select the type then. I always do this in Illustrator, but I'm assuming it would be here. Language options, what rasterize, convert. It's okay, rasterize, good. Since it says rasterize, that means it's already vector. Rasterize is the opposite. Rasterize would turn it into JPEG, okay? The fact that it says rasterize, it means that it's already outlined. If I rasterize it now, it's not. Now it's drawings. It's not text anymore. Okay, so that is the opposite. And so you would, if so, you would have had to convert it into outlines. But right now it's already rasterized. So the fact that it's allowed us to rasterize means it's already vector text. So when it comes out as a type tool, it's already vector text. So you're fine. A lot of people modify and do art with text, in which case it'll become soft and then you need to rasterize. You need to get the opposite, which is rasterize is pixels, vector is the Illustrator, InDesign straight lines. And so they're the opposite of each other. If there can be only one or the other, you can have it rasterized or you can have it be vector. Rasterized means if you zoom in, it would be all pixelated, and vector means that no matter what you do with it, it stays always in sharp format. Okay, I'm going to look into the whole paragraph things in Photoshop for next time so that I have a better idea. But anyway, this is what happened. Hopefully you have a couple of different screenshots of styles and all the different stuff that we've been doing. I haven't been doing screenshots myself lately. Hopefully you have. I think you have, and you've been posting it. I'm seeing here a lot of you guys already posting a lot of stuff, so that's cool. And don't forget to do some research on different requests. Okay, cool. Perfect. Whoever wrote change text color, I don't know who it was. Okay, because they just put in the subject change text color. If you're still here and that was yours, then put change text color down here and put your name here. So hover over this and edit, and then grab this and put your name there. Okay, just saying because I don't know who it was. All right. And then same with this, someone put in here the actual file. If I edit this, what's been brought in here is the actual file. And so when you have that little tab there, it's like a PNG or something. All right, guys, I'll see you in 2 days. Save your stuff. Hopefully it's all working. And where's my share? I'm happy to stay if you have any questions, but if you are ready to go, I've gone over by a couple minutes, so you can leave. But if you have any questions, something that you want to catch up on or that didn't work, please stay behind and ask me.
Hey Diana, this is
So-
Mark.
Yes, Mark, hi.
I had to disappear for a few minutes. We had a fire scare here, so I but
Oh
everything's
my
recording.
goodness.
But
You okay?
I'm okay. Yeah, we have.
It was a scare. It wasn't really a
no,
fire.
the-
Okay.
I thought it was the free roaming chickens and the free roaming rabbits, but they don't have any matches that I know of. So I'm not sure what's going to die, but everything's recorded. So
Okay, great. Yeah, it's all on the recording and it'll be up by tonight. Usually I put it up sooner, but then it doesn't resolve itself in YouTube and give it, they need to put subtitles and all that they do before it's really ready to be viewed. Okay. Yeah, another student in another class, her sister was just in a fire and lost everything just in the hospital. I don't know, things are happening lately, so. I'm glad that was not a real fire and that you're fine. All right, so Julie, Moni, Monica, any other questions? Is all good? No? All right, then take care and I'll see you in 2 days. Bye.